Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Yeah, TGIF, here we go.
Friday, game day.
We argued so much yesterday, Jay needed the day off. He needs to relax from all the yelling and
threw his
screaming.
back out yelling yesterday.
He's out of commission right now, so I'll be sitting in his chair, which is good for all of you, because enough of him already.
Glad I was chilling.
Brad and Mike weren't part of the craziness. G, you were part of the craziness yesterday?
I was the craziness.
You handled it really well, I thought, just so you know.
Jason was shell-shocked. He couldn't say a word during the whole thing.
He was like, bro, okay.
I don't know what's going on here.
I know that look that he had during that because I grew up in a real loud household with like parents who argued. You just shut down in the backseat of the car and wait for it to be over. That's pretty much what he was doing.
All right, guys, a lot to get to today. Our buddy DeQuell Jackson is going to join us.
Because he wanted to yell, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know who he's yelling at. If he's yelling at you or me.
He
we'll
might.
Find out.
I refuse to give away what DeQuell wants to yell
Well,
about.
he's either going to yell at G or Jay, who's not here, or he's going to yell at me. I don't know, but it's fine. We'll either Jay. Well, I'll argue with him if necessary. Even though I love him, but I love G too. We argued with him yesterday, so that's coming up. Tyvis will join us later in the show, guys. Cavs are playing tonight. I don't know if we're talking about that, but I'm actually excited about that game for 10 seconds. Brad, Celtics tonight, fun.
Let's go!
Every game for us is a chance to show what we are made of, right?
That's right.
And so I would tell you what, Cavs got a great product down there. I mean,
Yeah.
this thing is nice.
I know.
I was at the store at the bank yesterday. They were like, that thing is nice. You said
Everybody's
it was
pumped.
nice.
It's real. I know
Everybody's pumped, Mike.
I know we're not allowed to talk. I know we're not allowed to talk about it, but I want to talk about it so bad. I'm so excited
Give
about
us
this
17
season.
seconds on the Cavs.
Just 17 seconds on the Cavs.
Yeah.
I was worried. I mean, I wasn't worried, but I went into this season. I'm just like, this is our growth year. Don't get too excited. The East is great. I don't know. I think we're looking pretty good in the East. I'm more excited than I was at the beginning. I thought this was going to be that transition
And that's without
year.
Darius Garland. He hasn't even played
That's
yet.
without Darius Garland.
And he's not playing again tonight.
No,
he's out for the game.
He's off tonight.
And they're in Boston tonight, and they'll be home for the Knicks on Sunday. So you got
Big game.
Cavs tonight, Ohio State, Penn State tomorrow, Cavs random football all day Sunday, Cavs Sunday night, and then Browns Monday night. Should
Good
be
time. Good
fun
time to be a sports fan.
Few days here, guys.
Yep.
All right, guys, let's get it right into it. The fence game. We love no fence riders. We're getting right into it. We'll talk about Jamar Chase and the big injury as part of fence riders because that's a big deal in this game coming up Monday. So let's get right to it. Mikey McNugget's with us as always. He's back from the dentist. He still has his teeth. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back from the dentist from hell yesterday. We'll
get
probably
the
get into that
veneers?
later in the show.
Mikey was about to say another word, and he's like, maybe I shouldn't say that word.
Yeah,
I
I
think that was a
edited
good call.
myself there. I edited myself. But we do have a six-pack of questions. We'll get to Jamar Chase involved with this.
Okay.
Brad said his answers a little late, so I will tell you guys Brad's answer because he does differentiate from a lot of you guys on some of these. But our first fence question, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a yes or no.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's no gray areas. That's what we love about this.
Yes.
You know, you got to make a decision.
No maybes.
No maybes on
We
the
don't
fence
have time for that
questions.
nonsense. Let's go.
So the first question, let's take it, Mike. Will Jacoby Brissett, excuse
I
me.
love Jacoby. I had Jacoby Brissett at this barbecue restaurant the other night. It was fantastic.
That dude sounded like a French cuisine.
Hot sauce.
Right.
I'll be honest, I skipped breakfast this morning by accident. I'm starving.
Oh my
Brisket
God.
is definitely on my mind.
Why didn't you go to the little cafeteria up there? They got some food up there.
I have lunch. I just don't want to eat like lunch at 10:15 in the morning. But whatever. The question is, will Jacoby Brissett score 2 total touchdowns on Sunday? Brad said yes.
Ooh.
Let's see how everyone else answered, Mike.
Wow.
A contingent of no's. So, Brad, why don't you start here?
That's 6 no's, 1 yes.
That's the whole
you
damn
know,
panel.
here. This is my philosophy now with the Browns. I'm going the totally opposite way now. I'm like in Vegas. I'm like betting everything. I'm going the other way. That's when you know you're losing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What's that called? You're on tilt.
Right.
You're on tilt.
I'm off the charts now. I'm
Yeah.
like, this thing is driving me crazy. You saw my picture last week. I was chopping wood. I was doing sawing and everything else. I'm like, okay. My brain tells me that no, he's not going to score.
Right.
But this is the Browns.
Right.
Or as they call them at Lifetime Fitness, the Clowns.
I've heard that before.
Ouch.
Yeah. Okay, so you're just going the opposite of logic.
He's doing George Costanza.
He
right?
is. I'm doing everything the opposite of how. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So.
All right.
What's the next?
Anybody
one?
think he's getting one? Or, You guys got 1 or 0 for Jacoby?
Oh no, hold on. So I was supposed to comment on this. Now, here's the thing with Jacoby Brissett. Our coach, the way he calls the football games, it would tell you that he would get probably 2 touchdowns because he'll get cute. He'll get down there. He's like, yeah, Jacoby got 1 touchdown. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this play action down there to a tight end or something. But Jacoby is good for a pick now. We got to, in the beginning of the season, Bull, we talked about that. He doesn't turn the ball over. Now, Jacoby gonna give you a pick. If it's before half, if it's in the final drive of a game, he'll throw you a pick, especially when he knows you got to push the ball downfield.
And the Bengals play an aggressive style defense, unlike the Browns.
Yeah,
which the Browns should, because the Browns actually have more talent. I think,
would not take this. I mean, I would, if we were playing pretty much anybody, I wouldn't take a 2-touchdown Jacoby Brissett in this case.
Right.
But especially right now, the Bengals, who, as far as I know, have still not given up a touchdown in the second half of a ball game this entire season.
Yes.
Think about that. That's insane. And so, do we think Jacoby Brissett's going to be the one to all of a sudden break that mold? Probably not, based on what we've seen so far this season.
Man, listen, you know what's so crazy is I went back home and I was watching the game tapes.
Yeah.
I was watching the game tapes of what we was talking about, and it just hit me in my face. This is why Jacoby Brissett is throwing a ball like that. See, Kevin Stefanski has to run something that is at least close to what he's going to run with Deshaun Watson. So it's just not about getting Deshaun Watson up to speed and throwing the football.
That's true.
If you got running backs, and we want him to run the rock, right? We want him to run it. I want him to go back to old ground Chuck Noll, right? But he has young receivers, and he has nobody besides Amari Cooper who is used to, like, learning offenses, multiple offenses. He got a bunch of young guys at receiver. He has to run some semblance of that offense, or when Deshaun Watson comes back,
they'll be lost.
They're screwed. Like they're gonna have to really put involve and pretty much put a brand new offense in. So what he's doing is he's saying, okay, listen, I'm not gonna throw the ball 100 times, but I at least got to get these formations out. I at least got to get some sets out so that we can just say the formation is the same, but we just gonna run different route combinations.
See, I'm always troubled by that, right? Because it speaks to, I mean, it's not that complicated, right? The game is the game, right? You made some variations here, but these are grown men, right? I put you out here. I don't care if I'm in Philadelphia, New Orleans, Cleveland. It's close to something, right? You've been playing football since you've been Bantam League, Pee Wee League, backyard football. I'm tired of this nonsense, right?
I agree with that.
I'm expecting you to come out here. I don't care who it is, right, and get it done. This is my thing, right? I'm stop tailoring things for people specifically. Like nobody's dumb enough that they can't pick up the next thing, right? People get traded all the time.
Well, but it's not totally the same offense. Obviously, they're going to run RPOs when Watson comes back, which they're not doing now. So it will, but he doesn't want to change the entire offense.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea, like, it's going, as if it's going so well, we wouldn't want to ruin this perfect engine we've got running right now. I just don't like the idea of us practicing this year using our, like, billion-dollar product that we're putting out there every week to practice for when someone gets here who will be better at this, and putting that in front of fans every week.
That's most
gross.
That's the thing that gets to the bottom of your stomach, because you like, Jason said it. We don't want to hear it, but this is a practice year. This is learning what we got. This is not one of them NFL film things.
Man, this is not no practice year, right? These are grown men getting paid. What are you talking about practice year?
Again,
this is not a practice year.
Play better, get it done. The defense has been awful.
It's atrocious.
Let's get to number 2.
The defense is applicable for this next question, which is, will the Browns hold the Bengals to under 30 points? Brad says yes, and let's see who he's on the same side of the fence with.
Now, we answered this question before the Jamar Chase injury.
No, y'all did. I answered that question like 8 o'clock this morning.
So you still think? Okay.
Yeah.
So you would have changed.
I
I
was a
still
little
was
late.
under 30. Because 30's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
It is.
And now they're without Jamar Chase, so
Yes.
it makes it harder. I still think the Bengals offense is really good. I think they'll score in the high 20s, but
28.
Yeah, I feel like it's something like that.
I don't think. See, my thing is, I just don't think that it's going to be like a gunslinger thing. I don't think they're going to need to score that much. I think they're going to get a lead and hang on to it, and we just have been proven pretty impotent about in that second half. So I think they'll just run out the clock, and that's what it won't be one of these high shooting games. And I am really sick of hearing on the radio and everything about how, hey, the Browns, they've got the Bengals number, man. Seems like the Browns. I'm like, that was like 6 years ago. Totally different personnel and stuff, and we're still acting like. Like those games matter.
The Bengals offense is high octane. It can go high octane when you got Burrow on the center. But I would just tell you this. For me, I just feel like Monday the Browns are going to answer the bell. I just think that you get heaped on so much during the week, right? Mm-hmm. That they're going to surprise us on. They do. They do. I don't know if I think that or I'm just hopeful that that's going to occur.
To your point, Mike, these 4 straight that the Browns have won, 3 of the 4, in my opinion, are irrelevant. Now, Joe Burrow played in 3 of those 4 games.
Yes.
But the first 2 he played in, that was a really bad Bengals team in his rookie season.
No receivers, none of that.
But when the Browns beat the Bengals in their first meeting last year, that was a legit win.
Right.
The Bengals were in the middle of playing well. The Browns kicked their ass in that game. Now, when they played the second time last year, none of the Bengals starters played, so that game's irrelevant.
And we get one of those games usually a year that we surprise everybody and end up having it. And Mondays, it might be that we do tend to show up sometimes. I could see us showing up and doing that, and it wouldn't shock me. I'm just saying, whenever everybody's saying, like, we've always had their number, I'm like, I want you to see that starting lineup from 2020.
Yeah, right.
And see how many of those same players are even still here.
No, you're right.
And, so that doesn't hold water with me.
I think that's what fans do certain things that if they went and asked the players to themselves, hey, does this matter? They'd get laughed out of the locker room. Like, bro, nobody care about no. You got my number.
All right, let's get to number 3, Mikey.
Question number 3, and this goes into whether Jamar Chase was going to play. The initial question, we'll take this, was, will Nick Chubb have more rushing yards than Jamar Chase has receiving yards? But then yesterday we found out that Jamar Chase will not be playing in this game. He's out 4 to 6 weeks with a hip injury, so we switched it to Tee Higgins, who is now Joe Burrow's top receiver. Brad says yes, Nick Chubb will outgain Tee Higgins. The rest of you are split. Bo, you want to start us?
Well, see, here's the thing. The Bengals, without Jamar Chase, the Bengals haven't run the ball much this year. And they haven't run it well when they have tried to run. They did run it well against Atlanta this past week, but they didn't run a lot. Now, we know the Browns' run defense is bad.
Right.
Going into yesterday, I didn't think the Bengals would run that much, even with the Browns' bad run defense, because the Bengals' passing game has been so good. However, without Chase, I do think they will run more than they may have previously. Mm-hmm. However, Tee Higgins is an excellent receiver.
Yes, he is.
He is a number 1 receiver, on half the teams in the league, probably.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, and the Bengals still have guys to spread it around to, because Tyler Boyd's a heck of a receiver. And Hayden Hurst, kind of under the radar, is a pretty solid tight end. And Joe Mixon can catch the ball as well. So I think ultimately, even though the Bengals will run a little more, I think the odds are Tee Higgins will have, especially with no Denzel Ward, will have over 100 yards. And because I think, like most of us seem to think, that the Bengals will get a lead in this game, they probably won't run the ball as much.
Right.
Now, the Bengals' run game is vulnerable because their best run stopper, DJ Reader, is not playing. He's been out a couple of weeks. So I think Nick Chubb will run effectively when he runs. But my guess is, because the Browns will be down, he won't have as many carries as some of us would like, and thus not get as many yards.
I got Chubb going for $120, but I got him running for $120 because I think that at some point Stefanski has to listen to what everybody else is saying around here, like run your guy, right?
Yeah.
I'll say this though, but the Browns are civil on defense, right? So I expect them to run Mixon like nobody's business on Monday.
Yeah.
Run him like nobody's business. And then Higgins and them are going to catch some balls. But they're going to run Mixon because if you've seen the Browns the last 5 weeks, they've been getting obliterated in the run. So why would I think that Cincinnati's not going to come here on Monday night and say, yeah, I used Joe Mixon a little bit before, but when they come to us, everybody that we play against, they'd say, well, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to just run Mixon. So I don't think Higgins is going to have he's going to have some catches.
Yeah.
I think Mixon going to break 100 easily.
I can already see that nightmare scenario of what you're talking about, them doing the right thing, what you're supposed to do, and running the ball on a bad run defense, us, again and again and again. But then there's going to be that annoying little one chunk play where he, just like a 10-yard slant route to Higgins or something like that, and then because we're so panicked about the run, and he'll end up breaking that off for like
a 70-yard play.
Something like that. I can totally see that.
Yeah.
I can already see it in my head, and I hate it. I want it out of it. I hate it.
Gee, how big a deal does Chase not playing change the result for you in this game?
None. Because this is actually bad. This is even worse. See,
if things got worse by their best player getting hurt?
Yeah. Because here's the thing. With the pass game, me and my dad laugh about it all the time. See, the pass game is like jump shots, man. It's intoxicating. When your jumper falling, you feel you would rather see your jumper fall than get to the line or get to the rack. That jumper start falling, you like, oh, I'm hot. That's the same thing about the pass game. When you dotting people up and you can spread it around and you 23 out of 24, everybody getting touches, it look real cute. But here's the thing. That at one point in time, that comes back to the ground. The reality is passing is a low percentage play. There's a lot of things that can happen, and 2 or 3 of them are bad. Now, I will tell you this. When you're running the ball, now you're committed to something where you can still get the pass game off the play action. Now if you get Joe Mixon going, it's a problem now because we can't. I know for a fact we can't stop that. I know for guarantee we have nothing for that. In the secondary, we are a little banged up or whatever to say, but the talent level is closer. But when you get into with them defensive tackles and they in the 20s, worst defensive front in the middle, then you get down to your linebackers, one of the worst linebacking core in the game when it comes to tackling, you're in trouble because now they can do both. Now when you line up and bring them up, you got Tyler Boyd, you still got Tee Higgins, you still got guys that can catch the ball deep, but now it's one-on-one or guys in space, and I don't like people in space because we can't tackle. It's still a wrap.
So it's all a disaster on the defense.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Pretty
much. The only hope is Myles Garrett wreaking havoc. I mean, that's the only hope.
He had to turn into Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
I know this is not professional, but here's an actual stat from our boy Terry Pluto at the Plain Dealer. And yes, I'm the only person still getting the actual
only person under the age
papers.
of 60 that still gets the paper.
The Browns are 31st out of 32 teams when it comes to tackling. That is not great.
No.
That is not strong at all. I don't even know who 32 is.
Yeah.
But I saw that stat today. I'm like, oh my God. And then we're just going to try and stop Andy Dalton Andy Dalton. We're going to try and stop.
Same difference.
Yeah, exactly. We are actually going to
much rather be Andy Dalton.
I know. We're going to try and stop. We're going to try and stop Joe Burrow right now with that. Yeah. 31 out of 32.
All right, Mikey, number 4.
We are halfway through, and this will be our first unanimous answer. Don't have to spend a ton of time on this question, but the question was, will Josh Dobbs take 1?
That was an odd
Just
question.
1.
I like that question, though.
We had asked last week. You guys said it's time to bench Brissett if he doesn't play well. If he doesn't start this game well, maybe we'd see Dobbs. But everybody said no.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not Stefanski's MO. He ain't going to do that.
You know, somebody could have taken a flyer on it in case somebody got injured or something went real south or something like that. But it was an interesting question. I don't blame you for putting it in there.
Keep it moving.
All right, so that's easy. It gives us a little more time for the next 2, which are certainly not unanimous, which is what we go for here. The next question, Mike, let's take it. Will the Browns allow a passing touchdown of at least 29.5 yards? Brad says yes, and he's not alone here. Brad joins Tyvis, Jason, Bull, and Jay on the yes side, Polk, and G.
Mike, you just said you're expecting one of those.
Yeah, I was. No, I'm expecting. You're right. And I wouldn't be shocked. And I still wouldn't be shocked. And I can totally see it. But I don't see that being a touchdown. I see them getting. Usually they'll get down to like the 10. And then they'll get knocked out of bounds or something like that. That's how I see that happen.
You don't see a long touchdown.
No, because I expect them to run the ball more.
Yeah.
And they'll get their chunk plays. They may get a 40-yard play or chunk play. But the Browns, for the most part, they because of the bungles that they had early in the season, they got their guys playing back deeper now. The corners are 5-10 yards off.
Right. Yeah.
All you got to do is run deep comeback curls and all kind of stuff all the way down the field.
It is funny, though. You always see it coming. On that chunk play, I'm always like, don't worry, one of our guys was playing off enough that they'll get the right angle on him and knock him out of bounds at the 5, and then we get to watch.
Man, I didn't realize football was this complicated, right? You know,
I didn't either.
We make it so complicated, right? What happened to the days when you just, Now I got to prevent you from doing anything. I got to set my guys back 10 yards deeper.
Yep.
To keep you in front of me. What about the guys who used to meet you at the line?
Seems like the Browns have the talent to do that. I don't know why they don't.
Well, they're
Supposedly,
injured right
you pay
now.
these guys a lot of-
Right now, in fairness, they're patched together. They're kind of injured. Greedy Williams apparently also has like the flu or something.
Is he
so that's
ever
awful.
healthy?
No.
I mean, has that guy ever been healthy?
Not great.
No.
But
You know, it's a philosophy.
Excuse me.
Brad knows this. When you play for certain coaches,
Yeah.
certain coaches have a mentality of, we're going to run what you can't stop.
Right.
I remember my coach used to say, hey, our main goal, it was to stop the run. And we was doing a great job of it until Minnesota came in with Lawrence Maroney and Marion Barber.
Oh, yeah.
And then we didn't stop nothing. Then the next moniker was, stop what they doing.
That's a
Right.
nice backfield.
Listen,
Yes, it was.
listen. I said,
Ohio State saw that. That's a nice backfield.
and it was on national TV,
Oh.
ESPN, and it was like, oh, we ready to go. No, you're not. I got a brand new shield for nothing. For nothing. They had a bill 25, bill 30 apiece in the first half. So sometimes,
Yeah.
and guess what? They had nice tight ends. They had a good quarterback that could have threw the ball. But they said, I got Marion Barber and Lawrence Maroney against a MAC school. Y'all gonna see these cats every single
Right.
play.
yep.
Right.
Yeah, eventually that's going to win out.
Yeah.
I do think Chase not playing maybe would have changed my answer if I would have known it at the time, because it seems like once every game, or very least every other game, Chase will catch a pass and the first guy misses a tackle, and if you miss a tackle on him, it's over.
I didn't
But
think he
he's
was
not
that fast.
It's-
I didn't know.
he's really. Tee
He's
Higgins,
sneaky fast.
Oh, Chase is fast.
Tee Higgins doesn't have the same speed that Chase has.
I mean, he'll catch a slant, and you'd be
Yeah.
like, they got an angle on him.
Yeah,
Hold
he's
on.
gone.
Hold on. They're behind him.
Yeah.
Hold
He's
on.
also
Why-
been
why
by
is he
far
in
the
end
best
zone?
receiver
Yeah.
in football the last couple of games. I
Yeah,
mean,
he's
this
been
is
on
his last
fire.
six stats
Yeah, the
alone,
last,
six
the
quarters
last, the
alone.
last,
Yeah,
the last 2 games he been on.
Yeah.
But before then,
Yeah.
he was almost on a milk carton.
Hey, by the
Yeah.
way, we listen. Hey, I'm gonna tell you this too. Hey, Browns, man, don't take this L, because guess what? You know, next week we're gonna be talking about draft positioning, and we don't have a number 1 pick.
Do you know where
we're
their
gonna be
number
talking
1
about
pick would fall,
receivers
G.
and
Bush?
who you need to fill this team out to get with Deshaun Watson.
They lose this game, it's all about, well,
G.
I
Bush.
can't wait to watch Deshaun Watson. That's
If they were to draft tomorrow, obviously they don't have the pick, but do you know where that pick would fall? What the Texans get?
Where
I think
The
it's
4th
6,
overall
right?
pick.
Yeah.
The 4th overall pick.
And they get that.
I'd still make that trade any day of the
do-
week.
I agree
we
with Paul.
have-
I still make the trade 100 out of 100 times.
Do
but
they have
right
a
now,
second round pick this year?
yes, we do.
I believe a second,
do.
but they don't have a third.
Yeah.
It's all
It's
right.
like second,
Yep.
4th, 5th.
They're going to trade Kareem Hunt, get
2-6.
some draft picks back. It's all right.
But do you remember though when we made this? You're right. You'd still make it. I'd
Yeah.
still make it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we do remember we're just
Still
like.
hurt.
And the nice thing is because this team's so ready to go and turnkey, it's not going to end up being a good draft pick anyways. At worst, it'll be in the middle of the draft.
Two things. Yes, that's true. We are 7 games in. We're not at the end of the season.
No, we are
You know,
not.
It's not
no,
over
we're,
yet.
No, we're just
That's
hitting the
funny.
hard part of the schedule.
That's funny.
It's not, we'll see.
Yeah, we will.
Tampa Bay's not Tampa Bay sucks now. We thought that was part of the hard schedule.
True.
so-
Yeah, but Tampa Bay's still in the mix.
They still in the mix.
They're not any more in the mix than the Browns are.
No. I looked
They've lost 4 in a row.
They,
Same as the
they were
Browns.
just talking
NFC
about that division
Yeah.
and where they are, how they still the favorite to come out of that thing.
Panthers.
Yep.
As bad as they are.
Because that division's horrible, not because they're
Exactly.
any good.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, they
The
got
winner of the this is
Falcons.
true fact. The winner
Yeah.
of the Falcons-Panthers game this weekend will be in sole possession of first place.
Right.
No, that's
sickening.
not. If the
Yes, it is.
if the Panthers win, it's a tiebreaker that they're in first place.
But they'll be in first place. And
yeah,
the Panthers,
for all intents
Falcons
and
win there in sole
purposes.
Right,
possession.
but that's
You talk
kinda
about-
meaningless.
you
They'd
talk
be
about-
tied
you
with
talk
the other
about
teams.
A team with.
But they'd have the
with
tiebreakers.
Baker
They'd be 2
Mayfield,
division
I
opponents.
know, but who cares about the tiebreakers after week 8?
Third
There's 9 games.
All right, we got one more fence rider
All right,
question.
one more
Before we
fence
get
rider.
to
Here we
it.
go. Go ahead.
We got
Last
our
one.
last one here, guys.
Yeah.
This is not unanimous either. Will the Browns have a special teams miscue of any kind
that was an
in this
easy one.
game? Brad said yes, Jay said yes, and everyone else said no.
I mean, I feel like yes is easy because they always do, but it's not going to happen every week.
Like, yeah, that's
It's like the easy answer on the test.
I'm counting.
Is it going to occur? Yes.
I'm sort of counting like I'm counting on subjectivity of what.
Yeah, what
is
is
considered
exactly a miscue?
Because just being
A missed
bad
extra
at
point,
things,
a botched punt,
Fumble.
a
Okay.
fumble.
Like
Turnover
if somebody
block.
misses, what if somebody misses a tackle on a return?
like just
And they
being
go to
the
bad
house?
is not.
If it doesn't go to the house, but they get 10
like
extra
an
yards.
egregious one where we put in the group chat, Fire if it causes a fire Mike Prefer text again.
Okay.
If the
That's
fire
the qualification.
Qualification, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That was where I gave myself some wiggle room because I can pretend something wasn't a miscue. I'm like, no, we're just bad.
You need wiggle room now?
Yeah, I do a little bit on
You
this.
need wiggle room with the clowns.
I know. It's brutal. I'm taking it.
Hey, it's bad when you start having to. I've been on both ends of the spectrum. You go through how many signs of grief is it?
How many stages?
8 stages.
It's like 8 stages of grief. Yesterday and a lot of other days, you mad, you angry, you in denial. This team can't be that bad.
Right.
Then you get to you just pissed off all the time. Now you say the Browns, it's evoking emotion. You done actually went past, and I'm like, oh goodness,
Right.
I ain't even tripping right now. I don't even look forward to it.
There are people still in the bargaining stage right now where they're just like, we could go on a run, and if you look at it, we're only second in our division right now. We could make the playoffs.
Mike, so let me hear what's happening out in the public sphere, right? Take a pulse of the public. The public's pulse is turning. Where it was all Browns, they're now going Cavs.
For real.
For real, they're going Cavs. They're like,
Which
wait,
is
hold
understandable, but we all know that when Deshaun Watson comes back, people are going to be locked back in because you're going to want to see him play.
Yes.
Even if they lose this game and people go away for a few weeks after that, they're coming back to watch Watson play.
Yes.
And we all know at the end of the day that hopefully when and not if, the Browns are good again, everybody will be there.
And even while the conversation, I agree, has turned a lot towards the Cavs out of desperation,
It's turning.
Yes.
people are still tuning in on Sunday, no matter how bad this team is. They're still going to be watching. We'll all still be watching.
What you did see, if you paying attention to these home games, third quarter they're bailing out of here.
Sure.
Right. So I looked in the stands. I like, where the people at?
Got pretty skinny in there.
There was a lot of people. There was a lot of people who left that game was like, let me get
I'm out of here.
I'm
beat the traffic.
Be traffic. And the thing is, the scary part about it is,
the lizard. Can I get a pickup order on?
Exactly. Yep.
I'll go and get it. The bad part about it is, you're gonna have a situation where now they're not even consuming. When the Browns win, I go around and I could look at other teams. I could look at other content. I'll go check out what people saying on the radio. I go look out and see what blogs is talking about, and it's cool. But when the Browns lose, I won't watch nothing. I ain't watch no Brown stuff. I don't want to
see highlights.
I don't want to see highlights. None of that.
Other teams doing well.
Right. It just puts a damper on everything. But I will say the only saving grace is I want to see what Deshaun Watson does.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I want to see
That's true.
how Kevin Stefanski plans on implementing and what this offense look like with him. Because if he comes in and lights it up, here's what'll happen. We gonna be good. We gonna be like, we got something though. Forget we ain't gonna be in the playoffs, but we got something for next year, right?
Yeah.
And it's perfect that the first game, honestly, is against the Texans because even if he's a little rusty, they suck.
Yeah,
that's true.
And I know the Browns suck right now, but the Texans are the Browns suck with hope. The Texans suck with no hope.
Yes, but our draft picks. I guess that's really their hope.
And our picks.
I know. I'm kidding. I know.
Listen, I get it. If the Browns end up with a top 10 pick that goes to the Texans, it's going to suck.
Yep.
But the bottom line is, if Deshaun Watson is the quarterback that he was in Houston, and he brings it here and he plays like that or better, none of us are going to give a rat's what about the draft picks in the long run.
Totally
as
true.
angry as we are right now.
All right, Mikey's got something. Just a reminder that I thought of right before you get to that, though, is that Houston game's important because we will be trying to beat Houston to make their draft pick worse. Think about that. We've got to beat them to make their draft pick worse for us.
That's right.
Go ahead, Mikey. Sorry.
Yes.
Well, just a reminder to make sure you guys like and subscribe to the YouTube page. We got a post-game show for the Buckeyes on Saturday and the Browns on Sunday.
Browns on Monday.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I have become a Browns fan this year, and it has taken a lot of years off the end of my life.
So you're the bad luck.
Being based in here, but I am not as diehard of a Browns fan as DeQuell Jackson.
By the way,
hold on.
Okay.
Wait till you see what the Browns have done to DeQuell this year. Let's bring DeQuell in here, and he's looking rough. DeQuell.
Oh no.
How you doing, man?
He's aging like a president.
Get out of here. Old white guy now. Oh my God. Hey, there he is.
That was well done. The special
This is
effects.
what the Browns have done to me. If they continue to play as poorly as they have, I'm going to look like this ugly guy over here. So, oh my God, it's rough. It's rough right now for me.
Yeah, looks like all of our souls right now.
Yes,
So DeQuell.
yes.
Apparently, you were watching or you watched back, I'm not sure, when I was arguing with J and G and I was going nuts and Jay was going nuts and you wanted to jump in on this. Whose side are you on this?
So I was actually on Jay's and G's side on this. I'm not going to lie.
I'm disappointed.
Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
In no world can you run the ball 100% of the time on first down. But in the NFL, running the ball more than 70% on first down, it actually happens. And at the time I was watching the Atlanta and the Bengals game last week.
Right.
And they pulled up a stat during the middle of the game, and it said they listed the top 4 teams that ran the ball more than anyone else. And what popped up in the bottom of the screen, it was that Atlanta ran the ball 70% of the time or more on first down. That's a dead giveaway. So that's all I'm saying. That was the side I was taking in terms of the Browns with Jacoby Brissett not playing well in situational football. Put the ball in your best player's hand. That's the only part of the argument I want to interject myself. But I enjoyed you guys going back and forth. It was very entertaining.
But Jay was saying Jay was literally saying run the ball on first down every time, which makes no sense. You can't do that.
Well, some team I played against teams who that was their DNA. Listen, 70-30, that percentage, they're going to run the ball. The only reason they don't run the ball because they don't want to be extremely predictable. They don't want you to put 11 guys in the box. But that's that's damn near 100% in the NFL. You won't find any other stat that says this team does X 70% or more of the time. So that's all I wanted to interject. But I was more so I called McNuggets afterwards. I was very entertained for those 10 minutes I joined in. And I never see I can see the horns growing smoke steaming from G's head, and I thought that was very entertaining because I had never seen this guy get mad like that. It was very entertaining.
The Quell, I had to go home and do some research. See, I get fired up. I get fired up after a Didi comes on, right? Because when the Didi comes on, she could always lean back on the Steelers. Like, the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, how they get down and what they do. And then Bull, he like, we got Jamar Chase and Tee Higgins and them.
That's his team.
That's it. Yeah, and they talk about how they get down. And then I'm looking over at the Ravens, and that used to be the Browns. And people always talk about how Baltimore is never out of it in Lamar Jackson. And then I'm just sitting here with my team, and I'm sitting with this bag of tricks, this bag of oatmeal cookies on Halloween. Everybody else that went door to door got the big candy bars, the Reese's, Snickers, the Baby Ruths, the Snickers.
You got the pretzels and apples.
And they gave me good fruit and candy corn. I'm like, you gonna give me an apple and a banana? I was tired of it. I said, I'm tired of it, bro. I said, listen, I ain't got much, but I'm gonna utilize what I got to the nth degree. I'm gonna go out swinging with my best punch. I'm not gonna be jabbing. I'm coming with what I got. That's all I got right now. And then I was hot too. I'm like,
but in the end, my point was, we could argue use Nick Chubb a little more. Fine, we could argue that, but don't make it seem, as Jay often does, in my opinion, that they're not using Nick Chubb at all. That's silly. He's third in carries. He's second and fourth quarter carries. The Browns have more running back carries than any team in the league. They run the ball on first down more than any team in the league. We could, would you like it a little more? Fine, but let's not make it seem like they don't run at all. I mean, they're using their weapons.
Both of you guys' point of view was right. Yeah, I think we were missing that. The defense has played so poorly.
Yes. Yep.
Listen, we can't pile up. We're over scrutinizing what the offense have done. They've been pretty productive.
Yes.
They've kept us in ball games. Without their play, we don't even have this conversation. We're saying the Browns absolutely are terrible. They suck. Let's move. Let's wait for Deshaun Watson to come back. But we overlooked all the mistakes and inconsistency from this defense that.
Oh, we lost the Quell. Yeah, I mean, that's the truth, guys. We're nitpicking the offense and having these debates because the defense sucks. We've said a few times, if Deshaun Watson were here, they'd probably be 5-2, right?
Right.
If the defense, and I think I said this yesterday, if the defense had played even close to what we thought they'd be coming into the season,
I just said average.
They'd be 5-2. The offense could be exactly the same, no difference, if the defense had played even close to what we were expecting, they'd have 4 or 5 wins right now.
I don't think you're mistaken. I think the defense is what has been the troublesome thing. Because we knew what we had with Brissett, right? We kind of knew that with a backup guy playing at the quarterback position, we didn't know how that was going to go. And they actually have performed fairly well, right? Fairly well. The defense on the other side has just not really performed to the level that we thought that they were going to do. Obviously, I'm thinking here that I was sold a bill of goods, right? Because
you were.
Because I'm looking at these guys, I'm like, that's not those guys. You told me this guy was this, and this guy was this, and this guy was this.
And Drew Berry.
And I was like, wait a minute here, hold on.
I like
Who is doing the scouting over here? Who is doing the day-to-days, the research here? Because
it's fair.
You're looking like you're a ranked amateur here, right? Because I'm looking at these other teams I watch on Sunday, right? And on Monday, on Thursday night, right? I see it. And I'm like, they finding diamonds like I won't even say Marshall and places, Central Florida and Savannah State. And I'm like, where are those guys
They
at?
finding diamonds like in Sierra Leone.
It's fair to ask, when it comes to the defense, is it Andrew Berry or is it Joe Woods? Who's to blame?
Well,
is it the talent or is it the development of the talent?
Let me ask you this. Who is the director of scouting here?
I don't even know.
I don't know. But
I'll look him up.
But Andrew Berry had to sign off on it.
Yeah, he's making the picks.
Remember they asked us yesterday, they said, do you think everybody comes back on this team? And you know me, I've been on Joe Woods' back since day one.
Yeah.
2019, I've been on Joe Woods. But then I had to sit back and think about it, though, Bull. If I'm Joe Woods, I say this. Well, let me talk to you, Andrew Berry, when we having our little powwow. Well, look, you didn't let me get no D tackles. You got me with Jordan Elliott. You got me, which is the worst defensive tackle starting. You got Taven Bryan for me, who was a bust in Jacksonville. And if Jacksonville don't sign you, mean you definitely ain't no good.
Plus, what's his name? Because they drafted from Ohio State.
You drafted Tommy Togiai.
The only bad player from Ohio State.
And
Stop it. Stop it, all right?
And Perrion Winfrey.
Calm down. Just calm down.
And then you got Perrion Winfrey, who ain't done that. So then you could go to the middle. They said, well, look, you had us with Anthony Walker, but you sold us on Phillips. You sold, and he was one of the worst linebackers. You love JOK. But he can't be in his right gap.
Where's Mac Wilson at?
Mac Wilson, you traded. Now, so you like, well, dang, he's looking good. And then you go, it's just like in baseball. You got your catcher, your pitcher, your middle infield, and your center fielder, right? That's the middle of your defense. Now let's get back to the 2 safeties. I don't know which one is worse. John Johnson, who you gave top safety money to, that you brought over. Yeah. You got Troy Hill. Troy Hill got here. He was so bad, you had to send him back. And then you got Grant Delpit, who you drafted the second round.
But Chief,
he's going to be good one day.
Let me ask you this. There are 5 players on the, yes, defensive tackle, clearly it seems like they got it wrong. They addressed the position, they addressed it wrong, right? It doesn't seem like they have talent there.
None.
Okay? Anthony Walker got hurt. There's nothing you could do there. Most teams don't have great backup linebackers. Okay,
in their defense, he was good.
And he was playing pretty well, especially when everyone paying attention.
Yep.
But and Clowney and Garrett, they're doing their job. Okay.
Yes.
But you have 5 players on the Browns defense that we thought were really good. That at times, especially one guy, the first guy I'm going to mention, has been excellent and have been bad this year. Yep. Denzel Ward, number 1.
Yep.
The 2 safeties that you mentioned, JOK, and Greg Newsome. Those 5 guys have all been disappointing this year. So I guess the question is, especially with the other 4 who have never done it for more than 1 year.
One pass defended.
Yeah.
One?
1.
All you got to do
Are
is
these
break
guys
some.
Overrated? Did Joe? How come they play all those guys? Johnson and Delpit haven't played well ever.
Let me
but Newsome and Ward played great last
How'd they
year.
take a step back?
Let me say this.
So is it talent or coaching?
Delpit, when he was at LSU, was lights out.
He was cold.
He was lights out.
So is it coaching
So
now?
my thing is this. What scheme? Because sometimes you can take a player and put him in a system, and the system will make you look like a sucker.
Maurice Claret said it just yesterday.
Make you look like a sucker.
You can give another coach the same players, and they'll look like stars.
Remember, we used to have Jabril Peppers playing 7,000 yards.
But the question is, Joe Woods was here last year. How did these guys take a step backwards?
Well, the safeties didn't. It's the corners. The corners and JOK are the really shocking ones. Because those 3 guys played well last year.
JOK problem is this. I think Ty was talking about the other day.
Yeah.
because they don't have the interior guys sucking up the energy, right? It puts JOK in a bad position because he's a lightweight linebacker.
Then figure out a better way to use him.
But this is why I keep going back to the talent evaluation, right? Now, I thought I had these guys. Well, after a couple games, I see they're not these guys. I now have to fill this void
have
here.
to pivot.
Right? Quit telling me how great these dudes are. I'm telling you how live they are because they're not. I asked you about the director of scouting, right?
Yeah.
Because Andrew Berry's not going out to all these sites looking at these players. The director of scouting is coming and say, hey, let me sit down. These are the people I see. He's got to sell Andrew Berry on these guys.
Right.
I'm like, who is this dude? And who is his minions?
But guys, and I believe, in my opinion, outside of defensive tackle, I believe the problem is coaching and player development and not talent. I think they have talent in the secondary. And I think JOK is talented, but you have to use. He's a unique player at linebacker. You've got to use him properly.
Be clear.
Yeah.
You heard it from me. Ain't nobody getting developed here.
Oh,
you can see it. Nobody getting developed.
They're regressing. If anything, they're regressing.
You come here, you regress.
Like I've never.
Regress when you come here.
And this is the thing that's been happening for a long time. I don't know. You can't name me one player that gets here. He has a lot of raw materials. And they polish him up, and they progressively get him better.
Are you talking both sides of the ball?
I'm talking about ever. I can't think of a guy. See, I can't think of a guy.
Don't say ever.
Well, I'm since '99. I literally went through this.
Say since '99.
I don't totally agree with that.
I'm trying to find a player.
It's taken a while, but David Njoku this year was looking like
he's
come a long way.
And I know.
I think Donovan Peoples-Jones was a 6th-round pick. He's become a solid NFL wide receiver.
And we just assumed that Nick Chubb was a finished product when he got here, but maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was in a different place.
The Bills, a smart team, gave away Wyatt Teller for nothing.
Offensive line.
For every person you can name that you say is making an ascension, let's name the ones that are making a decline.
And
but I got nobody on offense.
These are the offense. Here's the thing: you got Bill Callahan on offense. Bill Callahan.
That's just the line.
We're agreeing.
Listen, the line. When you talk about the line, they get guys off the street and do well.
They said OBJ was dead in the water here.
I never understood it.
Dead in the water here.
I never understood it.
He had regressed so far, he looked like a clown.
And that's why people was mad.
Then he went to L.A., and then I was like, I kept telling you, I said, he caught another touchdown.
Right.
He caught another touchdown.
Well,
and I do not want that to happen with Kareem Hunt. Because he's going to go to a good team, and he's going to look like a man.
Kareem Hunt's played well here. He's just not going to get used as much here because you got Nick Chubb.
Right. He's got the best running back in the league.
Nobody sees a problem with a talented guy not being used here when we're struggling.
I would agree that he should be used more. But he's never going to be used as much here as he would be on a team that doesn't have a Nick Chubb.
Here, what I tell you is this. Your team is sucking. It's struggling. You better find the diamonds that you have, and you better find a way to deploy them.
Right, but that wasn't the question. Was who's been developed? I don't believe outside of maybe Odell, and I don't even completely buy that because I think he was part of his own problem, and he's never healthy. Again, he's hurt this whole year. I don't see in the last couple of years a ton of offensive players that have gone the wrong direction.
You could say they have trouble at quarterback, I think, over time. I mean, they can't develop quarterbacks.
No, but it's not like Baker Mayfield went somewhere and he was even worse. But he's benched for P.J. Walker
but you're answering your own question, though.
Or did they devalue him by not developing him? You see what I'm saying? There's a difference here. I come from a university, Bull.
Yeah.
Their slogan is this. Ohio State football slogan is developed here. That's what they put forever. Developed here. Now you come here, ain't nobody getting developed over there on that lakefront.
That's not a fair comparison.
Yes, it is.
They're developed.
Ohio State's getting the best talent.
Yeah, they're developed at the best high schools in America, and then they come to Ohio State.
Let me tell you something. You can come from wherever. You still got to get developed right there. Right?
Okay, but why do they get picked to go to Ohio State?
It don't matter.
High school
but
coach
Ohio State
developed
gets
them
the
well.
best players, Brad. The Browns can't always get the best players.
That just recently occurred, right? Now we seem like we're getting the best of the best.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're developing these players. There's a pipeline to this league.
Right. So let me give you this, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but what I mean by development, development and scheme go hand in hand. There's two things that I would have immediately done when they would have got here. I love when coaches create a position for a player specifically for him. JOK would have already been switched to what we call a bandit role. A bandit is a guy who generally speaking, is a smaller linebacker that is between a linebacker and a safety. He has different rules, he has different responsibilities, and his job is to run sideline to sideline. Kareem Hunt's position should have already been changed. In this offense, there should have been a position. You like tight ends? He should have already had a position for him where Kareem Hunt
is. Because
these are unique talents that need to be recognized as unique talents.
He's on the field every single time between fullback, tight end, or H-back.
But you only do that when you recognize what you have in the box.
Yes.
And stop telling me this is my system, not my system. This is what I have. I'm going to deploy what I have and make it work for me.
Let's bring DeQuell back in, guys. We got DeQuell back. There he is.
There you go.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on? What's
old
going
guy.
on in the DMV, baby? The internet not working?
Listen, the old guy was bad juju, man. He feels the pain of the Browns.
Oh, yeah.
He don't want me to be great.
We want
That's because you starved him to death. You never fed him, DeQuell. And that's why you
Hey,
starved
DeQuell,
him.
we was just talking about it just now. We was talking about, it's a difference between development and the difference between what schemes you're running to make the development. I said myself, I would have created a role for JOK where he's a bandit, a hybrid type guy who has different rules. I would have trained, if I know I don't have receivers, Kareem Hunt would have been a position where he's on the field every play with Nick Chubb because I can put him at tight end. I could put him at fullback, I could split him out, and I could get a playmaker that could do everything on the field, but sometimes you got to create it. My thing is, JOK, they love this skill set, but you have to do something to augment and to enhance that skill set so that he can really show what he does.
You know what? I went back and watched a ton of film on their season this year, and particularly on the defense. And one thing that jumps out to me, fellas, there is no development. In terms of a linebacker play, you don't see the development from game to game if you clearly understand what JOK can bring to a defense if he's coached up. It seems like he's not being coached up properly on fundamentals of things, and he's playing the game as if he was back in college someplace, and he's not reading keys properly. I mean, this is not just him. He's the guy that stands out the most, in my opinion, because when he makes his mind up, he's like a bullet. So he shows up more, but all those guys don't seem to be on the same wavelength. It's like they don't know what they're doing. They're playing unsure of themselves, and that goes to coaching. That goes to development, and I don't see it right now, fellas. And that's why the defense plays as poorly as they have been in late in the game in those situations, because that's when you rely on your fundamentals, your technique, your prep study, all those other different things come to play, and that's their biggest flaw right now. Not only from the linebacker position, but on every level of the defense. Now, offensively, they've sputtered the last few weeks. I get it. You put the ball in Jacoby Brissett's hand, throw the ball 45 times. That is not what he does. But from a coaching standpoint, you have to be able to identify, okay, this is my hand. If I got a bad hand, a tunk, damn it, I'm going to try to make the best out of it. And it seems as though they're not really making wholesale changes to get the attention of the other guys not playing well enough. I think right now, you need to start doing those things right now, or those guys are going to play, even though 11 are going to trot out there, but, individually, as this thing gets out of hand and they have more, the more losses start piling up, those guys are going to go out there and start checking gangster. That's what I like to call it. Start doing their own things. And that's when the ship sails at that point.
DeQuell, when it comes to the defense, because obviously, for all that, we lost you as we were getting into, like, everybody's nitpicking on the offense. Ultimately, if the defense had played to what we thought they would, the team would be 5-2, right? The team would be a lot better. But when you look at the defense, obviously their ends are great. They're doing their job. The tackles, they don't have really talent at defensive tackle. You lose Anthony Walker injury. But you mentioned JOK, and I would say the entire secondary outside of the rookie Martin Emerson has been a disappointment. But those guys, I think, are really talented. So is it on coaching and development, or are some of those guys, maybe Delpit, maybe Johnson, maybe even JOK, are they not as talented as we think they are? Or are they actually talented and not being developed properly?
That's a great question. I think they are talented. I think they're above average when you look on paper. what those guys can do and what they have done and the potential of them to do what we think they can do if they're coached well. I think it boils down to that leadership piece in every room is so undervalued and not appreciated. If you had a guy in that secondary who understood why it's important to listen to the coach and listen to the technique and do all these small little things, because it's going to lead to bigger gains, to bigger results when you play Monday night, when you play Thursday night, when you play on Sunday. I think that is I feel like front office are realizing, you know what, we got a lot of young guys, a lot of inexperienced guys. We need a guy in every level from the D-line, linebacker, and secondary to teach these guys how to work. Because I remember being that young, inexperienced guy, and I remember leaning heavily on Willie McGinnis, how to play the position. And if I didn't have that tutelage, I would have been out here running wild and didn't understand what gap, integrity meant in terms of run fits from a D-line and linebacker standpoint and how to communicate. I wouldn't know how to do those things unless I had a good example in front of me. And I think, something has to, and coaching plays a part in it, but I think when it boils down to it, in game, live action, those guys don't know who to lean on because everyone is making similar mistakes and they don't have a guy to lead the ship.
DeQuill, let me throw this at you, right? Because you make a very good point here, right? Because I think that as I reassess it, because I've been kind of hard on myself, but as I reassess it, they got some talent. But coaching in any league can make you look like a sucker if you're not in the right position here. If they don't put you in a position to be successful. One of my issues I have, and I want to know your take on this. It seems to me that the Browns have difficulty assessing what their strengths are and recognize that they're my strong suits. So this is what I have to use. They seem to be pre-programmed. I have to do A, B, C. Well, I have to do A, B, C because that's all they know is A, B, C. Well, we're gonna play this one G-H-I, right? We're gonna play this all the way down, right? We're gonna do it a little bit. We're gonna mix up the alphabet a little bit here, right? And I'm doing that because my personnel tell me to do it that way, right? In this case here, they seem to be stuck on stupid here, right? We watching the same thing every week, and every week. So tell me what you think about this, because I'm like, this is getting redundant and ridiculous.
Yeah, you're seeing the same calls, the same way guys. You're exactly right, Brad. At this point, what do you have to lose? Nothing. And I think a lot of no matter how the great coaches in this league are able to adapt in real time. Whatever your plan was, we do it when you scout. You have a plan, you go into the game and you get behind, and now you got to scrap your game plan, and now you have to figure out in real time, how do I attack this defense? How do I play better defense, and et cetera? I think this is the culture of the NFL. Guys go from place to place and to run their system. I've had coaches before. It's like, listen, man, we have guys playing out of position, and you know it as players. Players know it. And when nothing is changing, you know what happens? And you know this, Brad, you start to lose faith in your coach.
Yes, you do.
And you start to go out there and just play reckless, play wild, and it becomes an individual game as opposed to a team game. And you start losing guys. You start losing the attention of them. And you're right. The Browns in my opinion, this team is one of the biggest disappointments of the league right now. And if they don't get it together, you thought without Deshaun Watson, with Jacoby Brissett managing this football team, the Browns defense will be comparable, competitive, and these guys will level up in terms of, expectation. And right now, you listen to all the other networks talk about the Browns, they're talking about these guys as the same old Browns, and they're giving them every reason to, because your record reflects who you are and how poorly you're playing right now.
DeQuell, I look at it, and I think the problem with coaches is sometimes now with new age coaches and the younger coaches, and this is in general, I think that when you look at social media and the way that you text message people, we do everything over Zoom, saying the interactions is less and less between people, right? And the thing that I think coaches never take advantage of is truly developing relationships with the people. And once you build those relationships and you have communication where now the coaches feel like they know a person and a player, besides the X's and O's, they know who he is, they know what motivating factors you have. I think sometimes, and I know there's a big catchphrase in talking about analytics, but my thing is, you have to be able to motivate people. I don't see the Cleveland Browns as a motivated team. Like, I don't see you got to invoke some sort of passion, some sort of pride, some sort of anything in a person. And when you see this, I don't see the Cleveland Browns as a team that is going to say, we're going to go out here and play hard. We not about to let this happen. We're going to play for each other. We're going to make sure it's a standard that we got no matter what the coaches got going. And for me, I don't know if that's something that Kevin Stefanski can instill, but I think it's a part of the coaching staff that's missing. I believe you could do analytics. You could be even keel on one side of the ball, but you have to have a yin and a yang for everything. You have to also have people that think that way, that are going to go say, I need to be a disruptor. Do you think that they need one of those type of people, whether it's a special teams offense or defense?
Well, that's what happens when you're losing games that you're supposed to win. You know, this team could easily be 5-3. They could easily be. The way we're talking about the Browns could be on the opposite spectrum right here, but that's what 3 and 5 teams go through. They have to battle that internal motivation, playing inspired football, because a lot of guys need, you know, a guy to kind of light some fire up under their butt. You know, and you need a guy that can stand in front of grown men and motivate them, no matter what the record is, no matter what the day looks like, no matter if you think you're an underdog and you're last in the division. So you really need a guy. You're really going to see, you know, how this season unfolds, what imprint can Kevin Stefanski put on this football team to have them play inspired football. Listen, I'm still inspired, but I think they go out and compete. It's the critical moments of the game is when they lose football games, the last 2 minutes before the half, the last 2 minutes to end the game. There's either a turnover offensively or a mental breakdown defensively where you're giving up big plays. And that's where you figure, you know what? Either the guys aren't paying attention to detail or it's talent level, which we all can agree is not the talent level. It's them having someone they can trust in real time, a leader back there that can be the quarterback of the defense, coaching, all these other things play a part. And I think Kevin Stefanski's really got a tall task ahead of him, because he's really got to, you know, these guys are playing on Monday night. And I don't care what your record is. Monday night is like a Super Bowl every time you get a chance to play on Monday night. So we're going to see an inspired football team. We're going to see a team compete like crazy, because now everyone's watching you and everyone's going to know, he's not playing so well. The JOKs, I'm sure he'll play better, but there's going to be a level, a sense of urgency in terms of this is a chance we can turn our season around. That's the message in the locker room right now. I'm sure Kevin Stefanski and every coaching staff in that building is coaching. We can turn our season around if we get a divisional win against a team that's playing really well. The best players out, you know, and listen, quite frankly, this is going to be a tough task for the Browns, because the Bengals defense hasn't given up a second half touchdown in 8 weeks, which is unheard of.
That's scary.
So it's very scary. It's very scary. And I don't see the Browns fixing all their issues in 1 week. So all we can do is hope for the best, and hopefully I don't turn out like this ugly guy sitting next to me over here.
Well, you've been in locker rooms in the past at a point in a season where kind of the vibe changed and the whole team realized that this is probably a lost year. And that's not, I'm assuming, a very good feeling. Can you imagine if we lose this game on Monday, we're 2-6. What is the vibe going to be like in that locker room moving forward with these young guys, where you said the psychology of this is so important? I mean, this could really make a difference as far as how this team continues to develop or goes in the wrong direction, couldn't it?
Yeah, it's scary because you got a lot of young guys who come from big programs, are used to winning and not used to dealing with the fan base like the Cleveland Browns are, how they're diehard fans. They're going to love you 1 minute, boo you the next minute, you know, if you play poorly, and rightfully so. But in that locker room, the psyche of guys, that's where, you know, you really lean on the Myles Garrett. The guys who are mentally mature enough to deal with it, they're going to go out and continue to make plays. So that's one instance you can identify. And I'm thinking Myles Garrett will be that guy, will be that example for the other guys. Listen, no matter what the record is, we still have a job to do, I want to play for my brother. I want to play for my city. I want to play for whatever reasons you can come up with to play for. And you know what I used to do, Mikey? Around this time, if I were in that locker room, if I realized we were out of playoff contention, that's when I started making my off-season plans. Yeah. I start, preparing, a great trip so I can motivate myself to get through these tough times because it's hard, man. Mm-hmm. It's hard. Throughout the week, you're putting in all this extra time lifting and film study, and you have this little voice in your head telling you, why are you doing this? You're not winning when you're not playing for anything, and it falls on coaching, leadership. Can they be the same guy? Can you motivate? Can you inspire? So there's going to be a lot of domino effects in these next few weeks of how these guys respond and how well they go out and play, how hard they play. Because, the things that are happening, the mistakes this team is going, the mistakes that happened on Sundays that we've identified were the same mistakes were happening early in the season. And that, to me, falls on coaching.
By the way, you think fans are angry now. What if the Browns lose to the Bengals on Monday and then the Bengals sign Odell Beckham on Tuesday?
Oh, that would not be ideal. That would not be ideal.
G can't even. He just got so angry thinking about that.
You just made his day.
I was so angry. I went back. So I have a subscription, right, for NFL Plus. I went back and watched games that I played in 2009 and 2012. I was like, wait a minute. Maybe I'm being overly critical of this defense and the linebackers and just the inconsistency. And I tell you what. No, I was spot on. These guys are all they're all over the place. And I don't know how you fix it. Do you score
Browns
a ton of
hired
points?
DeQuell Jackson. Please, Browns, hire DeQuell Jackson. Please hire DeQuell.
Would you ever coach?
No.
You don't have any interest in coaching, right?
I mean, I'll never say never, but, you get a good group. Here's the thing. Well, I want to go home. And some of these guys don't go home. They sleep in their office.
No,
they're crazy. Yeah. They're nuts. And I love
you
football.
got a good life.
No, you should be a consultant. Though.
You got a good life. You're good at media. Yeah, you don't.
I would love to be in some sort of consultant.
Yes, that's what we need to do. Come in, pump everybody up.
Yeah, here's the thing. I actually reached out years ago to my agent. I'm like, hey, do NFL teams hire former players to teach? If they have a young crew, a young room, do they consult with older guys who they trust, who were pros when they played, to come in and teach these guys how to watch film, what to look out for, just to give them a different voice? And, I was trying to do something with the Washington Commanders years ago, and they you run into that gray area where they don't want a former player having more control over the room than the coach.
Exactly.
So
that's stupid. That's stupid that they don't do that. That would be great. You'd be great at that. But let's have some fun, guys. Enough of this depressing Browns. Let's have some fun. We're going to do some Anthony and Mikey have created some I don't know. explain to us, Mikey. And
so
hanging out for
this is a behind-the-scenes production here. Let's take the music here. Let's take the music first. But Anthony, myself, and Earl decided if some Cleveland athletes were to dress up for Halloween, what do we think they would dress up as?
Okay.
So we got about 12 or 13 of these, and then we're going to vote.
Oh, that's creepy.
Well,
what is that?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
It's a baby.
Yeah.
My son is terrified of this.
That's crazy.
That is disturbing.
Well, I bet. Tell me if I'm right. And you're great music, by the way, Mikey. And we love your game already. DeQuell, you do like horror movies, don't you? Do you watch horror movies?
I do.
I knew he did.
What's your favorite one?
Probably when I first saw it the first time, Halloween used to creep me the heck out.
Yeah. That's the best. Yeah, it's the best one of all time still.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the movies that scared me real quick. Children of the Corn freaked me out. I don't like kids to kill.
Yeah.
And there was a movie 100 years ago, or like 40, 50 years ago, called The Children. I think it was in black and white, where these kids got like possessed by some gas or something, and they had black fingernails, and they'd stab you with their black fingernails. It was really disturbing. I'm getting scared just thinking about it.
Good tips, everybody.
But It is another one. It always creeps me out.
What was that
Killer
one?
Clowns.
It.
With the Killer Clowns.
Oh. Yeah.
So we got 12 of these, by the way.
All right, here we go.
We're going to award a first, a second, and a third place winner at the end. This is your guys are the judges.
Okay, so we don't give them grades along the way. We just see
you say
them
which
all.
ones you like, what you don't like, how you think the costume fits, and then you, DeQuell, Bull, and Mike Polk will announce a podium. Okay. So our first costume is Nick Chubb in a 2-minute drill in the fourth quarter, down by 1 score. Let's take it. He's Wilson the volleyball from Castaway.
Oh, yeah.
Nowhere to be found when you need him most.
Yeah. You get it?
Oh, okay. I can see that. Yeah.
I wish you could have seen Nicole's non-reaction to that.
I'm not feeling that one.
Some of these are good, some of these aren't great. We'll see how it goes. You know,
I'm proud of you for trying, Mikey.
I like the effort.
Okay, next we have Anthony Schwartz. Let's take it. The Invisible Man.
Nice.
Oh man,
That's good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So far,
You
it's
get back on track
maybe half a winner. We're trying. Okay.
It's not bad.
Hey, I like how you're trying to take credit for these, Anthony. Poking your head in.
Anthony
we're
made
not
all
good.
the graphics. He
All
does
right.
make all the
There was
graphics.
no graphic there, though, for Anthony Schwartz.
And it's his best one.
Okay, we have Myles Garrett up next. We went back and forth on a couple of different options, but we ended up on Baker's dad.
Good.
Is Baker on a leash?
No, he's a
Baker is
little
on a
child
leash.
there. Yeah,
Little
that's
child.
That
child.
is
Oh,
disturbing.
that's
Now hold
That is
on.
just
That
wrong.
looks a little.
You see why you can't get involved in it.
That's
What
a
if-
little creepy.
What if it was the opposite way?
Yeah, then it would be a big
Oh
problem.
yeah,
It was
Oh,
opposite.
That would be a
hell
big problem.
By the way, that graphic. There's
No, we can't don't do that.
There's a little something for everybody, and that graphic probably just turned someone on. Just so you know. Someone who's watching this just got turned
Hey
on.
man, hey bro, we got,
Everybody has their thing.
you know it's cancel season out here.
Yeah.
Kanye West is acting
Yeah,
up.
we gotta move on
They're
from
trying to get you up out
And
of
I'm
here
not
quick.
call. And by the way, Kanye West can go bleep himself, and I'm not calling him Ye or Yee or whatever the hell he wants to be called. You don't get a nickname when you're an ass.
I love Bull cursing out Kanye West with Halloween music underneath.
Yeah. All right, next.
Next we have Jacoby Brissett, and he's Jake from State Farm. He's just a normal dude, just a guy.
Because he's so basic.
Pedestrian,
Is that-
like.
Yeah, he could be a Jake.
But why is the
that's
headset on
actually-
though?
Because
Well, what's up?
Hey, I used to be a manager at a call center, man. Man, I used to be out here getting cats DirecTV, man.
Uh-huh. I
Very
telemarketed
pedestrian,
for a while.
Yeah,
That was the worst.
DirecTV used to have great customer service.
They used to.
Ever since AT&T bought them, it sucks.
Man, it's just nowadays.
Yeah.
Now all they do is promise you. They're like, listen, are you upset, sir? We can get you DirecTV's #1 package. You know, the NFL Sunday ticket is at no additional cost to you.
Right.
And if you're still mad, we can get you Cinemax.
Yeah, right. By the way,
Cinemax.
they always offer you.
You can complain until you get what you want, right?
Oh yeah, right. They always offer you the sports pack, but the sports pack is a waste because all the games get blacked out.
Right, it is.
All you see is all these random shows in like Nebraska and all these other stupid places that I never want to go to in the first place.
Some dude's like, can I get the package? You're like, what package would you like, sir? He was like, I want the package. And I said, are you referring to HBO, Showtime, and Cinemax? I would like those too, but the other package.
Oh dear.
I said, he was like,
Playboy?
but I don't want it on my bill.
Uh-huh.
I said, it just comes on as entertainment programming. He's like, I'll take it.
My
Ask
God,
until they
dude,
say no.
there's so much free porn on the internet. What does he got to get it on
I know.
DirecTV
Hey,
for?
bro, some people live in the Midwest. They don't know nothing about no computer. They want the
All right.
package.
Fair enough.
Hey, I know not to get off topic because we were never on one, but there is still one of those stores right by my house where you can go in and like rent like DVDs of pornography.
really?
It says it up front, and I'm like, who
Like a
is
porn
doing
shop?
that? Yeah, like who is doing
I used
that?
to go to those places in my early 20s.
because there
all
wasn't
time.
the internet.
I
Like
think
who
we
is?
all. I think we all made a visit at some point.
Of course.
Sure. No, we're all human. We're all human beings. But I'm saying it is 2022. Who
He
is
still goes.
getting
That's why he's laughing so hard.
Who is still actually getting physical media of pornography?
Yeah, that's insane.
And like putting their name down and writing it into a system.
That dude has the
You
cleanest
gotta have
browser
a membership,
history
Bulls.
in the
Like,
state
yeah, I
of
have a
Ohio.
membership, renew my joint. Hey,
I was a special subscriber. Speaking of subscribers, make sure you subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show and hit that bell so you can get all the alerts.
and by the way,
everything's coming up.
there's 700 some odd people in the chat right now listening live.
Should be 2,000. Where are you? Let's go.
All we need to do is for y'all 700 people, just hit the like button.
Let's go.
We should at least have
Very
700 likes if you watch your 700 people.
We'll talk more
watching.
porn and
We're
private events
discussing
if you want.
important things. I'll tell you the address of that pornography store if you stay tuned.
I have a lot more of these around the house.
There we go.
God, that looks like a real dead baby, kind of. I mean, it really does.
My son is terrified of it. He's
He has a
terrified.
pumpkin head.
Oh,
I imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna scar your child with that.
It looks like like one of the evil
Halloween
creatures
3.
from Halloween 3 is amazing.
What happened with Halloween 3?
Here's what
It had
happened.
nothing to do with the other
I
Halloween.
know. Do you want me to tell you the
Yeah,
story of
please.
this? Really quickly, the story of Halloween 3.
Yeah.
John Carpenter, when he originally thought of the Halloween movies, he meant for it to be an anthology, not with Michael Myers in every single one of them. That was only supposed to be the first one. Well, it became so popular that they wanted to make money on it, so they made a second one right away.
Yeah.
But really, Halloween 3 was supposed to be just like, they each were supposed to be a different story, and only one was supposed to have Michael Myers in it, but he took off
it was
so
the
much.
opposite.
Yes,
Only
but
one
they,
has
but they
the
already
story.
had 3 made.
Interesting.
So that's why Halloween 3 is the only one without Michael Myers.
Yes.
So
We got a couple more costumes
3
here.
more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 3 more days till Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
So are you guys dressing up at all?
Oh, great question.
I think we should.
We should.
On Monday, we'll do something on Monday.
I don't know what I'm going to do. It's going to be hard
You got to
for
wear
me.
your
So
Baker
I-
Mayfield
okay.
jersey.
Jaquel, tell us what you're being. I know you have an amazing costume.
So I have a few.
Yeah.
So I always have a Michael Myers mask around the house. I like to scare people all the time.
Sure.
I have a Chucky, a human Chucky mask. It's scary as hell.
Nice.
But this year, so my son wants to dress up as Superman. So I bought his mother a Wonder Woman. Is it Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got it.
Yeah. I bought her the outfit, but I'm actually going to be Bane.
Okay,
I found a
that's
nice
dope.
Bane costume.
Man, you'd be such
It's
a good
cold
Bane.
here. It's cold, so we're
Yeah, I'm
going to be
about to-
out,
yeah.
and I'm playing the villain this year.
And it
great.
is appropriate. They're all in the DC universe.
Yeah, you're right.
All in the DC
Good
universe.
move, yeah.
That's completely
No
appropriate.
Marvel.
I
Still
really enjoy Halloween, by the way.
By the way, real quick, I know Mike's trying to move us along. My son is dressing up as Weird Al Yankovic.
Awesome.
Great costume.
Oh, that's
Very
sweet.
good costume.
He's his second favorite artist.
First,
behind Billy Joel.
Oh, it goes Billy Joel, Weird Al. Good combo.
What a combo. All right, Mikey, next one. What do you got?
We got a couple more. This is a Guardian. How about Jose Ramirez as Iron Man after
Like
playing
that.
half the
Okay.
season with a
Yeah,
broken
yeah.
hand?
There you go.
I
That's
like
nice.
that
Yeah.
one.
Solid.
Yeah,
He'd
that's
be a
spot
good
on.
Iron Man.
It is. It is good. That's solid. We appreciate that.
Why am I still holding
that's
this
all right.
baby? Like it's not.
You get rid of the baby, Quill. You're all good. We got Kareem Hunt as our next contestant. He's a pink slip because he's probably getting shipped out of town on Tuesday.
Why are we trying to get this guy out of town?
By the way, what
I
if
don't know.
somebody
Yeah, we
just
need
quoted
all
Mikey
the
McNugget saying,
firepower
yeah,
we
get
can.
rid of the baby, DeQuell. Get rid of the baby.
I can
The
clip
fake
it if we
baby.
need to.
The
Don't
fake
worry.
baby.
We got a couple more.
yeah.
How about Darius Garland? A pirate?
Oh,
Got the eye
because
patch
his
right now,
eye
you know?
hurts.
Get
you
it,
guys
huh?
get it. He sustained a serious eye injury.
And we just put a
Yeah.
patch on him, man.
I thought about wearing a patch when my eye was all swelled up the other day.
Yeah,
That
G
would look
Bush, this
pretty
next
cool.
one specifically for you. Let's take it.
Is it G Bush?
But John Johnson is candy corn.
Who is that? Oh, a candy corn.
man. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone. I got
That's good.
I got a rule that you can't. My mom tells me all the time. She's like, listen, you can have commentary, but you can't go and talk about a man's character or go straight to it because you might have to actually see him. I have a problem with calling a man candy corn. That's like he can see you about that. You might be going to your parking garage and then all of a sudden he said, "What's up?
Yeah, you
What's
don't
up,
want that.
fam?
Where is he?
I'm candy. I'm sweet. I'm sweet. You saying I'm sweet?
Oh, that's
No,
classic.
well, no.
Oh, man.
classic.
Yeah, you don't want to put that out
And
there.
candy corn is the most disgusting candy
Oh,
that
Oh,
there
and
is.
it's bad
Facts.
too. It's just
Facts.
It's overall not nutritious.
It's gross.
It has no. It has
How about
no
the big
taste.
pumpkin ones
Oh.
that are like
Still disgusting.
Like, no, what I'm saying is that they're like 8 candy corn at once.
Ugh.
It's because they're
Ugh.
fatter.
Is there any candy that's nutritious?
Well, I
Reese's.
think that's made out of recycled book bags. Like these dudes. I remember in the hood they used to get them out their pocket, and I'm like,
Yeah.
sir, you have like you know how it be lint in your
Yeah,
pocket.
you get the lid.
Like it'd be like 2 pennies in there and the candy corn,
Oh, that.
and then they put them in there, and I'm like, did you lick these first, or these are sticky? Did you have these in your
Nugget.
mouth? These are not sunflower seeds, bro. They give it to you in your bag and just
Killing
keep
me.
you working.
Oh,
McNuggets,
my
that's a
God.
segment. You need to come up with the worst Halloween candy there is.
Yeah, you do.
We'll do it Monday. We'll do a
All right.
top 5.
I actually
Go
did
ahead.
that as a news story. We can just run it.
Go ahead.
We got 3 more.
Three more.
The
DeQuell,
next
what do
is
you
the-
give out for trick or treat at your house? What kind of candy?
Oh, Skittles, Jolly Ranchers, Blow Pops.
That's all acceptable.
No
stuff.
chocolate, because it's very, very. I don't want to give anything out with nuts, because I don't want to be held liable
Right,
for
then
anyone.
someone
any-
sues
Fun.
you.
I
Yep.
give
Oh,
up
yeah,
chocolate.
yeah,
I don't even
so-
think about that.
Yeah, I don't either. He got to worry about it. They can get his bag.
That's the parents' fault. Don't have you got to stay on if your kid's got a nut allergy, you better stay with the kid during Halloween.
Well, no, I'm not in this area. I'm not.
You're not messing around
on that line.
All right.
No.
Quell's got to be careful.
We got 3 more costumes.
3 more. Here we go.
This is the entire Browns coaching staff.
Yeah.
They're Nickelback. Very low approval rating.
Why does everybody hate Nickelback? I like Nickelback.
By the way, you rock people in the chat. Tell me why it is that Nickelback.
Everybody hates Nickelback.
They had some very recognizable songs back in the early 2000s.
It's terrible music.
Yeah.
I like Nickelback.
Okay, please explain. Like, why? I mean, I don't mind it. I
No,
don't
you're
listen
right.
to it often,
They
but
just became the go-to name of that. There's a ton of bad bands that are worse than Nickelback or just as bad as Nickelback, but that just became like generic reference for all of that kind of garbage music that just kind of sounds generic that you just hear in the background at a grocery store. It's just very bland, common, and they're Canadian. That also puts a target on their back.
I think that makes them more likable.
But then I was like, but then you got the Foo Fighters. Aren't they the same thing?
No, you got to give Foo Fighters a little more credit.
They're
Because
better.
they were born out of Nirvana in a way, and
Slightly.
they have more street cred.
Okay.
Dave Grohl also Warren, Ohio. Shout out.
But what about Green Day? Where would you put Green Day in that category?
See, Green Day they're an in between. Real punk people hate Green Day because they consider them like sellout corporate kind of punk. But they are an important band and they did not stink. People don't like anything super popular.
And what about the Bare Naked Ladies?
That's people? Well, that's like more like college music from the late '90s. You're allowed to like them.
Or what about Good Charlotte?
Hey, this is the great Chris Rock joke I remember from SNL back in the day. He's like, "Good Charlotte, more like bad Green Day."
I get it, right?
This is from the YouTube chat, by the way.
Yeah.
Eagle Man says it should be 0 back because they underutilized Chubb and Hunt. So, nice little play.
I like that no
Okay.
back.
I like that.
I like that
was
no
good. Shout
back.
out
That's
Eagle
true.
Man
They
for
only have
that.
more carries than any running back tandem in the league, but they don't use it.
And by the way, we should be having a spin-off channel where Mike Polk goes through the eras of rock.
I like that.
I like that.
I like that.
That's very, very
Yeah,
educated.
I'll tell you why people hate things for the wrong reason anytime you want.
We got 2 more real quick. We're going to run
go,
through them.
Mikey.
We're going to name a winner. This is Austin Hedges as Anthony Antonelli.
That might actually win, bro.
Not bad.
That would be funny.
That's not bad.
And
not
last
bad.
but not least,
Yeah.
we have Aaron Savali. It's a blown tire.
Oh, right.
That was so far.
Blew it.
That was so far. I've always already put in the back of my mind that the Guardians were good this year, and it didn't matter. If they lost. So I was like, what does that mean?
We compartmentalized it.
Yeah. I like. What's your favorite, DeQuell?
Yeah, DeQuell, you're
Which one do you
first.
like?
Who's your favorite?
Oh, favorite. Probably baseball.
Jose Ramirez?
Jose Ramirez. Yes, that was spot on.
I'm with DeQuell. I thought that was the best one.
I thought the Anthony Schwartz one was creative. The Invisible Man.
I really enjoyed that one as well. But I love the Hedges and Anthony one.
That's
I like
true.
the inside baseball nature of it, no pun intended. And I think they should both go as each other and hang out on Halloween together this year.
So I think Jose Ramirez wins, Hedges 2, and Anthony Schwartz 3,
Yes.
maybe?
Correct. Well, that's the first ever UCSS Cleveland athlete Halloween costume.
You guys
Tradition
did
We
great.
can't wait to never do again.
You guys did great.
So guys, I never told the story. So when the Guardians were playing the Yankees, I was in town.
Yeah.
And I went to back-to-back games, right? And the first game was great. They win late in the 7th or 8th inning.
Right.
So the second game I show up, and I know about the dog pound. I understand how the fans are, the dog pound, the Browns fans, the whole deal. And this was my first time realizing I sat behind a crew that was like diehard Guardians fans. And there was like some college kids sitting in front of me, and it was literally like the family section of like Anthony Rizzo and a few other players.
Yeah.
And so the group behind me, some of the language I heard talking to these little kids, I had to leave. It was so much. So next to me was a father and his like 8-year-old son, and some guy, he was like probably 60 some odd years old, dressed head to toe in Cleveland Indians gear. And he was MFing these kids, the family, the whole deal, to the point where it made me uncomfortable.
That's absurd.
It was crazy. I didn't know baseball fans got as rowdy as football fans.
Yeah.
And maybe excuse my ignorance, but it was great in one sense, but it was like, okay, it was getting out of hand at one point.
know,
So
it's brutal.
I just think fans in general have gotten more and more awful.
What is G doing?
Not everybody, but some fans
Listen,
get so
He's
out of
fixing his
control.
earpiece.
The reason I laugh is because I was at games like Browns games in the 80s with my parents, and I'm a kid there, and the stuff that was heard and the fights that were had and the stuff that was thrown around, and I'm not endorsing it. Everyone's smoking cigarettes. The environment then compared to the environment now, it is like such a it's like it's a Chuck E. Cheese now
Well, I'll
compared
tell
to
you.
what it was in the 80s. Is all I'm saying.
no idea.
So, but you're right. It is brutal. It can be brutal, and it is weirder in baseball. You don't hear it that much in baseball, and that's not regular season. Obviously, that's playoff baseball.
I'll tell you the craziest thing I ever heard. I was in 2015. I was in Pittsburgh. It was the Cubs and the Pirates in the wild card game. And I'm a Cubs fan. I'm sitting there in my Cubs gear, and there's Pirates fans all around me, and I was there by myself. And this guy behind me, the Cubs pitcher at the time was Jake Arrieta, who obviously pitched in the World Series against the Guardians next year. This guy behind me screams, "Hey, Arrieta, I'm going to slit your bleeping throat."
Oh, my goodness.
And
Yeah,
I turned around and I said to him, "Are you out of your mind?"
Yeah.
And
yeah.
what's funny is a bunch of other Pirate fans actually went to security and got him kicked out of the game.
Yeah, that's a little,
And the guy
yeah.
was crying as he was being
I
removed.
love it.
Wow.
I was going to say,
that's
there's
where it
nothing
got
funny
you.
about that. but
Nothing.
That is actually a funny
Yeah.
outcome of the
It's a
story.
funny outcome, but that's, I mean, some people, alcohol's involved. People get crazy. They lose their mind.
Yeah, I felt like I was in the middle of something that was going to happen, and I didn't want to be in the middle of it. I'm like, I'd rather watch from upstairs.
Smart move.
But
Smart
it was
move.
a good time, by the way.
It's a bad feeling.
DeQuell, great to see you as always, buddy.
As
Have
always,
a good
bro.
weekend. We'll talk to you next
Good to
week.
see you
Happy
guys.
Halloween,
We'll
brother.
buy some
Thanks,
more
DeQuell.
costumes.
The great DeQuell Jackson. Awesome to have him with us. Brad had to get going early today, so
I like how he just didn't mention that he disappeared like
25 minutes ago.
yeah. What was?
Is that the sneakiest exit a 7-footer
Yes.
has ever made?
It was.
And, a 7-foot like dude just
Yeah.
snuck out of here without letting anybody know.
That's like old school Batman on the animated series.
Yeah.
They be sitting there talking to somebody. They turn around, Bruce Wayne to be gone. With an open window with curtains and doves flying in. You be like, damn.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a sitcom where one of the children in the family like went upstairs and then just never came back down? Like the character was just gone. I think it was.
I remember.
Was it Full House or something like that?
I don't remember.
Anyways, that's what happened there. Someone in the chat
just
tell us.
disappeared, yeah.
What's the sitcom from the 90s where one
Wasn't
person-
there-
Happy Days. Happy Days.
Yep.
Okay, maybe that
According
was
to-
it.
Oh, that's
Director
right.
Mike.
Yeah,
That's
you're
right.
right.
There was an older brother on
Yeah,
that show.
Chuck. I
They
think
got
his
rid
name
of
was.
him.
Yeah, he just left.
Speaking
There
of,
was an older sister on the Cosby Show who kind of disappeared too.
She went to college.
It was Denise.
Was it Denise?
No, well,
We answer the hard-hitting
Denise
questions
was Lisa
here.
Bonet.
yes, but it
There
was
was an older
another
sister.
sister that
Right.
they got rid of early.
Yeah.
And
By the way, I went to filmings of that show because they filmed it in Brooklyn.
wow.
That was before we knew about Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
But I remember once before the taping, they were like, "Does anybody have a question?" And they took questions from the audience. And people were asking, "How old is Theo? How old is
Right.
all the kids on the show?" So I raised my hand. I was like 13, 14 at the time. And I said to Bill Cosby, I got to ask Bill Cosby a question. I said, "How old are you?" And he goes, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm 13," or whatever I said. He goes, "I'm 14." It was a good line.
It was-
it
you
was
got it all.
funny. That was a great show.
It was a great Family Matters. I remember they got rid of the little sister.
I
That's
think
right.
that maybe is who disappeared.
Yeah, she just one day they brought Little Richie in.
Yeah.
And was like Little Richie, and then they got rid of Little Richie's mom. And then they got rid of the middle sister and was like, yeah, we're just gonna make
Speaking
Urkel.
of Family Matters, that's one of those shows where, like, Urkel became the star.
Yes.
And it's like you wonder if the rest of the cast was pissed because it was supposed to be about the star was supposed to be what's his name, the father.
Yeah.
And Urkel became the star.
The 90s were weird. Where he just kind of took over that show. And he had his catchphrase, remember?
Yeah.
Did
Have
I
you-
do that?
Have you seen that video that somebody posted recently breaking down Urkel playing basketball on that show?
No.
You have to you have to find this video.
Okay.
There's two videos. There's one of Urkel playing basketball, and there's one of a fight on Saved by the Bell between Zach and Slater.
Okay.
And there's some guy like recently doing like
Commentary.
giving analysis, and it's real. They're both really funny.
I'm assuming they're very bad at basketball and at fighting.
Yes. Yes.
Like Michael J.
Or-
Fox bad in like Teen Wolf, where he's
Oh my
like
God,
dribbling
that
with
was so
both
bad.
hands.
That was so bad. All right, guys, we were talking about baseball. Let's bring up Terry Francona. Mikey was worked up about the fact, right? Mikey, you were worked up?
Yeah, I was pretty upset about this. And I'm not even like a longtime Guardians fan, but what Francona did with this team, from the expectations of finishing 4th in the AL Central to making the playoffs, winning a playoff series, taking the Yankees to 5 games, for any outlet to award anyone else the AL Manager of the Year award, you take tag board full. But Sporting News gave Brandon Hyde of the Orioles the nod over Francona.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense.
And I have no idea how you could make that assumption or conclusion after what Francona did when the Orioles didn't even make the playoffs.
Bull, explain it to us. How did they make that?
It doesn't make any. There's no explanation. Brandon Hyde did a nice job.
Okay.
He did a nice job.
Explain what he did to us.
Okay, so the Orioles should have been a team. Like, the Guardians, I think a lot of people thought would be like a 70-something win team.
Yep.
And they won 90 and made the playoffs.
Yes.
And Francona should win. Now, the Orioles were a team in a much better division that most of us thought would win 55, 60 games, and they were in the playoff race till the last week or two of the season. Kudos to him.
Right.
He should have solidly finished second in every Manager of the Year award because the fact that he got that team over 500 is a remarkable job.
Right.
But Terry Francona, even though it's in a worse division, got a team that nobody had in the playoffs into the playoffs and winning 92 games. I don't think there's any debate.
22 games over 500.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So what's the rationalization there? Do you think he was just trying to like be different? Do you
I think the Sporting News was trying to be cute. Maybe the guy who picks the award for the Sporting News thought the Guardians would be a lot better than the rest of us did, and so he didn't think it was that big a deal because he might be just saying, well, it's a bad division, somebody's got to win it. The American League East is a very good division, and the Orioles, it's not to knock Brandon Hyde. He did a tremendous job.
How long has Brandon Hyde been manager there?
I think 3 years.
Okay, so that's probably 3 years.
Coincidentally enough, he was on the Cubs coaching staff in 2016.
So that's probably the thing, though. They're probably more excited about a guy who hasn't been doing it that long. I think Terry's probably a victim of his own success.
A lot of times,
where we're so used to him being good.
However, the Sporting News won the official MLB Manager of the Year award. I'll be stunned if it's not Francona. I think the Sporting News was trying to be cute here.
Well, I think
they pulled the Stefanski.
They tried to be cute.
Right.
A lot of times, and I got a problem with this. Sometimes we have this thing where we have to even stuff up, like
LeBron not winning an MVP.
Or just saying I'm not going. Otani. I'm not going to vote for him because. No, if he was good enough to win the award, and his storyline, his stat line, everything is better, and you see it with your eyes. Why would you give it to somebody else just for the simple sake of saying, I'm going to give it to this guy because he has it 5 times?
Right.
It's crazy.
I never understood that.
Never.
It's like, well, I can't vote for him every year. Well, if he's the best every year, why can't you vote for him every year?
I think it's Martin Scorsese didn't win his first Oscar until The Irishman for directing, I think, which is not like
that's weird.
Yes, which is
I didn't love The Irishman.
No, and that's the point. The point is sometimes you are giving something for your career rather than because he deserved it for other movies.
Right.
But they didn't give it to him then. They didn't give it to him then. They're sick of giving it to somebody else, so they're just like, well, this is the year we're going to give it to this guy because as more.
They did it with Denzel Washington. He got it for Training Day. And we're like, Training Day is great. It's iconic. But it's not Malcolm X. It's not. I mean, he's done so many. Philadelphia.
To me, there's 15 movies that he's better in than.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let me correct that. Denzel Washington is great in everything he's in.
Any movie.
There are 15 movies, in my opinion, that he's done that are better movies than Training Day.
Yeah.
You know what I just rewatched?
I like Training Day, but there are movies
way better.
Remember the Titans.
Oh, remember
underrated, so good, and that I just rewatched the Inside Man
Inside Man was great in that.
So good in Inside Man.
What was the movie where I think it was called John Q, where he's kids in the hospital?
That was great.
Yeah, we can go on.
We covered Teen Wolf. We covered Denzel movies. What's next, Mikey?
By the way, a couple other notes on the Guardians people might be interested in, maybe not paying attention to. We mentioned a couple weeks ago that they have like 6 finalists or 5 finalists for the Golden Glove. But there's an outlet called the Baseball Bible, which I really respect. They do all this deep dive into analytics when it comes to baseball defense, and they announce their award winners. Yeah. They don't even do American League, National League. They just have one winner at each position. The Guardians won Best Fielder at Stephen Kwan in left and Miles Straw in center field.
Wow.
And they have 2 Silver Slugger?
2 Silver Slugger finalists, Jose Ramirez and Andres Jimenez are finalists for the
So
Silver
who all
Slugger.
has a chance at winning a glove this year?
Gold Glove finalists, Shane Bieber, Jose Ramirez, Andres Jimenez, Miles Straw, and Stephen Kwan. I think that's I think 5 guys.
Jimenez, I didn't know
are all
about
finalists.
Him.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. Well, that's
great.
I
mean, there's a lot of promise and a lot of interesting stuff in the offseason, but we'll leave it there for now. What time is Tyvis coming on, by the way?
Whenever we say, because he's ready. Tyvis, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Let's get him
Welcome
in the
to the
mix.
show.
What up?
Hey, you know what? But wait a minute. Before we start, I want to say I'll let my father, Denzel, know that y'all, appreciate the work that he did. So I'll pass that message on to my pops.
That means a lot. Thanks so much.
My 2 favorite actors, and they're totally different type of actors.
Tyvis Powell and Denzel Washington?
No, definitely not Tyvis. No offense, Tyvis.
Wow.
Are Denzel Washington and John Cusack. I've always loved John Cusack, even though he hasn't done
John
anything
Cusack
lately.
too.
I'm gonna tell you who's one of the most talented actors of his time. Is the dude who used to play at House of Cards.
Kevin Spacey. He's canceled.
Although he won something recently.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey
is a great actor.
Kevin Spacey is canceled. We have to put that in the Bible and in his bio, right? Like he's canceled. But you have to do that. It's like steroids in a home run chase. You got to put it down there.
Yeah.
You can't you just can't.
He's great.
But
although I had to stop watching that show because it was too much like real life.
Yeah, it was.
It was freaking me out.
It was I felt like it was happening.
Yes, it was like
for real,
parallel to what was happening in the world.
I remember starting saying to myself, I'm like, I wouldn't mind this guy as a president right now. Right. I really remember saying that.
Yeah,
I actually make some pretty good choices.
But yes,
Tyvis, what are you going to be for Halloween this year? That's the most important question.
Yeah.
I will not be anything because I will be doing the Browns pregame and postgame show for Halloween this year. So therefore, I will miss out. I won't even get to take my daughter to the treat. It's unfortunate.
You're not gonna. They don't do it in Columbus. They don't do it on the weekend.
They're doing it on Halloween.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Well, what are your daughters dressing up as then? What's their costume?
One is going to be Mickey Mouse. No, Minnie. She's going to be Minnie.
Okay.
And the other one is going to be like a bumblebee or something like that.
All right.
And by the way, Tyvis, just so you know, I made good on my promise. You do have a brand new barbershop hoodie waiting on you here.
Can confirm.
I got him yesterday.
Wait a minute. It's about 4 months late, but better.
Hey.
A Lannister always repays his debts.
Are you watching Dragon?
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Have you finished it yet?
It's good.
I'm through those dragons.
It's good timing, G. I got to stand up on stage like 2 more times, so I'm definitely coming barbershop hoodie for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, we got it ready to go.
Get that
Tyvis,
word
do you
out.
watch House of Dragon or no?
No, because I didn't watch Game of Thrones, and they said if you didn't watch
You
Game
don't
of
need
Thrones,
to. You don't.
I think you do. Well, you don't need to.
You
but
don't need
it's
to.
better if you do.
If he watched this and then watch Game of Thrones after,
yeah, you
it
could.
makes,
That'd be life-changing.
it'll set you up.
But I think you like it more because you saw Game of Thrones, because you know the connections and all that
Mikey
stuff.
McNuggets, do you mind if we turn the last half hour of this sports show into just a podcast about Game of Thrones?
Listen, I love Game of Thrones. I watched House of Dragons. Anthony finally finished the 10th episode yesterday, so
Did we like it?
Yeah,
Yeah. I thought the last 2 episodes were fantastic.
No, I've enjoyed it.
Shout out, when you get an opportunity, spoiler alert, shout out to Vermithor. He's out here, you know what I'm saying? Damon out here speaking that high Valerian. Shout out to him. He's my favorite, by the way.
He's awful. He's evil.
all of this is Chinese arithmetic.
I mean, he is.
I know. I'm sorry, Tyvis. Thank you for coming on and listening to us talk about a show you don't know.
His niece and wife.
I feel so left out.
Tyvis' character is married to his niece.
Okay, just don't try and fill him in on all of Game of Thrones and the prequels.
Yeah, if Tyvis hasn't seen Game of Thrones, that doesn't make sense.
we will
Tyvis,
talk
how
about
bad?
Off air. We
right.
Tyvis, it happens all the time in the
hate
show.
that guy. I don't know
It's
how you
all the
guys
time in the
do
show.
That's stuff y'all talking about right now.
Tyvis, the real question is, how bad's Penn State going to lose to Ohio State this weekend? Is it a 20-point win, a 30-point win, a 40-point win, or a 60-point win?
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up because for the past few years, every time Penn State's played Ohio State, they kept the game pretty close. So it's actually interesting. I was on doing my radio show yesterday, and we was talking about Penn State, and Penn State has Joey Porter Jr., who's like one of the best corners or DBs in the country. I mean, he's a semifinalist for the Thorpe Award. So it's going to be interesting to see him go up against these wide receivers. And offensively, Penn State, dude, Sean Clifford ain't the greatest quarterback, but for some odd reason, when he plays Ohio State, he plays above himself. And they got Parker Washington, and they got the running back Nick Singleton, who's came on as like one of the best running backs in the Big Ten. So the only issue I see with Penn State is they offensive line is like Cincinnati Bengals from last year. It's terrible. But if they can hold up, they can make the game very interesting. So athlete for athlete, it'll be a good game.
This game is in Penn State?
It is in Happy Valley, correct?
Oh, it's a noon game, though.
Oh,
it's a noon.
They're a 15.5-point dog at home.
They tripped. They should have made this a night game and put the white out.
Yeah, it's noon.
Traditionally,
you want to hear a fun fact real quick?
We all said the same thing.
Penn State is terrible in whiteout games. They always play Ohio State or Michigan, and they always end up losing. So they said, we're going to do it next week or last week against Minnesota so we could finally win a whiteout game, which is why this game's at noon and it's not a whiteout.
Smart.
As Ohio,
That doesn't matter. That does not matter at all.
That's true.
It doesn't matter if you're a Buckeye because you're getting a dub, but if you're going all out as a Penn State fan, those whiteouts are a lot better at wins than losses.
Tyvus, as like a Buckeye analyst and kind of consultant and stuff, how much of your job is just having to go on shows like this and act like you might be a little bit intimidated by whatever team you're about to roll over that week? I've always got I know. I'm just kidding, but that stinks. When you guys got to be like, hey, Marshall actually has a pretty good defensive line. That's like so much of your job.
Like honestly, I would tell you straight up, like, because we wouldn't even spend that much time on it. It would be like, they're gonna kill him and it's blah blah blah.
Right.
You might point out one or two guys that they have, but when you look at this Penn State, they've always had great athletes. I mean, if you think about the teams that Ohio State have played prior to this game, they've always had the better athletes. Penn State actually got some top athletes, and they got some guys who is up for big awards. So they got the skills. But like I say, the only thing that is missing is their offensive line. And Ohio State actually has to win because, historically it's been like a 6 or 7 point game. They got to win with some style points because the team up north went up with and took it to them. So they got to have some. They got to have an impressive win.
Well, Tyvus, I watched the game against Michigan Penn State. Penn State was in that game for the majority of the game, but then the running game for Michigan took over. They broke a lot of long runs. They broke a few long runs with multiple running backs. And so when I look at this game, I look at what the Ohio State has up front. I think this is a game Mayan Williams can definitely just put it on him. Like he's a guy. And by the way,
G, if he stopped last game, he started like acting like he was Barry Sanders or something. If he get north and south like he always be doing, he will be able to do that. But if he get out there and do what he did last week against Iowa and start dancing with the ball, I don't know what he was thinking. Then it won't look that great.
What he was thinking was, hey, I done got Travion Henderson's minutes, so now I am Travion Henderson. I'm bouncing-nomics. No. You do what you do, dog. Yeah. North and south, run a couple cats over, and we be good. But I think they can run the football with them. And the crazy thing about this, too, is Ohio State now has – when did Ohio State get pass-catching tight ends? Like, all of a sudden, like – They got
whoa. We always had pass catching tight ends. They just didn't utilize them.
I can't tell. Listen, they was up there blocking.
Where did Pat Fryermuth go to school?
He went to Penn State,
right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I was thinking he was Ohio State. I'm crazy.
But the run game is a little questionable because Iowa kind of exposed that a little bit last game. They have some dogs on that D line, and we didn't run the ball effectively like I wanted.
What was the score against
Iowa? That bothers me that people say that was the score. Like, no, if you watch the game, it wasn't that great. Like, it was terrible in the first half.
Here's the problem. With college. Here's my beef with college football. Ohio State beat the crap out of Iowa. Okay, you watched the game, fine. It was a little closer than the score tells you. But Ohio State hasn't lost. They've kicked everybody's ass, and people still complain. Because college football is the only freaking sport where style points matter, and that's stupid. Although ultimately it doesn't matter because if Ohio State wins the Big Ten, they're going to the playoffs, which of course they're going to win the Big Ten because Michigan, they're overrated. And let's go. So stop with the nonsense.
It's the standard. It's you know whose fault it is? It's Ryan Day's fault because nobody told him to come in here and just start scoring 50, 60 points a game and just blow everybody out. Like, nobody told him to do that. They told him to just win the game. He did this to himself.
Well,
he set the standard that we're going to roll and our offense is going to look electric. You know, they punted the ball last week. I didn't even know our punter's name until last week. Did you know that?
Hey,
We kicked 4 field goals in the game.
The only thing that matters is winning the national title. Anything, that's all that matters.
Right.
I'm starting to, Tyvus, I'm starting to be with Bull on this. He said this earlier. I disagree with him. Brad disagreed with him, but I'm starting to be like him. There's a lot of teams in the Big Ten that need to just. It should be a cycle. It should be like the bottom 4 teams in the Big Ten yearly got to go play in the MAC.
Soccer, soccer, they get relegated.
They got to be They got to be the MAC North, and I'm talking about Minnesota, Northwestern, Indiana, Illinois, Rutgers. That's fine. Iowa most of the time.
Suck.
These dudes they could be in the MAC North.
Yes.
And play the
Eastern Michigan.
Hey, you get Toledo next week, dog. Like, for real? Like, come on, man. Like, these dudes, Illinois, like, I get it, bro, but Illinois is not beating Michigan ever. They're not beating Ohio State ever. Indiana, I don't think they've ever beat Ohio State ever. So, like, for me, I think they should be sliding these boys in and out. Hey, go make them play somewhere else, and y'all need to just go ahead and pick the best out of the rest of them Pac-12. You go ahead and get Washington, get Stanford.
How much better football would that make? That'd be so much more entertaining to watch.
Ohio State is crazy. Ohio State is not watchable for most of their season.
Right.
If you look at the Big Ten, 4 or 5 teams we named.
You hear me?
And they play after. They play.
Yes, we can, Tyvus.
They go play. They play 3 MAC teams. So you got 8 teams that you playing in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Go ahead, Tyvus. What do you think about that?
Tyvus is freezing up. He's having his wife must be using his internet connection. So I'll just give you 2 stats real quick.
Yeah.
According to Steve Becker, Ohio State has won 9 out of the last 10 against Penn State, and James Franklin is 2-13 against top 5 teams in his career at Penn State. So mark that down as a big Ohio State win. If we get Tyvus back on, we will let Tyvus back on. But real quick, let's do what the internet said.
By the way, last time Ohio State lost, they did lose to Indiana in 2010.
Oh, wow. That's pretty fresh.
It was at Indiana, right?
I don't know.
That's pretty fresh.
Okay, 2010.
So we're going to do what the internet says.
once
real
every
quick, then we'll
40
get the final
years they win.
takes.
Yeah.
If
Probably
Tyvus
like
hops
30
back,
people
we'll bring him back
suspended.
because he's frozen in the abyss right now. Whenever we ask the internet a question or read you some comments, it's brought to us by our best friends over at PCC Airfoils. Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Benton, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and signing bonuses. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on YouTube. We have post-game shows for Ohio State on Saturday and the Browns on Monday.
By the way, speaking of Minerva, oddly enough, I started a new book yesterday by the great Lee Child, his Jack Reacher series. His latest book just came out yesterday, and I got it, or Tuesday, and I just started reading it yesterday. And it starts in a town called Minerva. It's Minerva, like Missouri or some other state.
Interesting. Yep.
I thought of PCC
Airfoils.
There it is.
There you go. Maybe they're going to be in every Minerva in the country.
Word's getting out.
Multiple Minervas. Mm-hmm. All right, Mikey, what do we got for the internet today?
And if you haven't already, please buy a T-shirt. We only have one internet comment today. It's from Terrence Blevins.
Thanks for making us look pathetic there, Mikey.
Yeah, you could have made one.
You could have just said you only wanted to read one today.
Right.
He said, we have a bunch of comments. We only have one that we have to read.
Only one worth of reading.
Terrence says her name was Vanessa from our argument about who disappeared in the show.
Yeah, that's correct.
Vanessa.
From Cosby Show or from...
There's no clarification from Terrence.
Vanessa, I know who you're talking about.
Name was Vanessa.
She was the most forgettable sister.
Yeah.
By the way, when I was talking about Cosby Show, Thursday nights on NBC, that lineup.
Like CTV.
Before TV was good.
Right.
Like we had to just watch. I was telling my son yesterday how when I was a kid, I only had 6 channels. That was it. I had no cable. There were 6 channels.
Right.
It was NBC, CBS, ABC, eventually Fox, and then 7 channels. And then we had PBS, and then you had in New York it was Channel 9 and Channel 11, which is like the WB and the whatever it is.
Yep.
But those stood strong.
Yeah.
For about. I mean, you're older than me. Like you was probably around when it was a big thing when you said, "Do you have MTV?"
Oh yeah.
You gentlemen remember when the TV was done for the day, and the national anthem would play.
Yeah, and then
there would
bars.
just be a picture of the flag, and then there would just be bars, because TV was like, you've had enough.
I mean,
that's all the TV is there.
What the
there
kids
is today.
have now.
I think it's 3 a.m. It was done.
Just shut off, and they're just like, you're done watching TV.
At my house, we have more
Go to bed.
streaming services than I had channels as
Of course. Yeah, it's remarkable.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And people still are like, I got nothing to watch. There's 7,000 things to watch now.
You could only watch
But
like
the
those
Thursday
channels.
night lineup then, it was Cosby Show at 8, Family Ties at 8:30. Speaking of Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, Family, yeah.
9 o'clock was Cheers.
Yes.
9:30 was Night Court.
Hot night.
And then 10 o'clock was L.A. Law. That was a great night.
Or during my area, it was TGIF
the
Friday.
Fridays, yeah.
Right.
Like they hit you, but there's lots of
House
them.
and Family Matters,
Full
right?
House, Family, but then they had
Perfect Strangers.
Step by
Balky.
Step. Then there was one called Just the 10 of Us, or just he was a coach.
Yep.
And then, well, speaking of coach, remember
Coach.
Minnesota State.
Yep.
Like,
by the way,
Craig T. Nelson.
And we got Tyvus back for one more question. He's back for one more
Tyvus,
question.
1 second, buddy.
and he's back.
That's how we roll. Speaking of Perfect Strangers, the guy Larry
Yes.
from Perfect Strangers was in the season of She-Hulk. How about that? Bringing it all back.
Balky Bartakamis.
Who was he was in Balky was in Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes,
Remember?
he was.
He was in 40. He was in Beverly Hills Cop.
Wait
When
a
Eddie
minute.
Murphy was funny, has anybody gone from the funniest to the least funny ever so quickly as Eddie Murphy?
Eddie Murphy is still hilarious.
No, he's
Anyways,
not funny at all now.
Eddie
He
Murphy's
stopped being
hilarious.
funny.
Well,
He
he ain't really.
usually ain't funny no more.
Eddie Murphy.
I agree with that.
That's true. I agree with that. But Eddie Murphy is one of the top 5 fun when he was at his prime, top 5 funniest people ever with George Carlin, with Richard Pryor, like one of the 5 funniest guys ever. And now he never does anything funny. He doesn't do much. Coming to America 2 was awful.
I didn't watch it.
It
He
was
did
bad.
those Meet the
Wow,
Crumps movies. Those were
that-
terrible.
That's a little disrespectful, Mike. You got to at least.
I didn't want to because I respect the
I
first
stopped
one.
halfway. It was so bad.
I respect the first one so much that I don't want to see the new one because I
48
want to
hours?
know it as I remember it.
48 Hours, Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop, and
was
Coming
hot.
to America. I mean, those are some of the funniest movies ever.
He had to sell his soul. He saw like
He must have. Now he's doing those stupid kids movies.
like-
I don't
Does
know what the hell happened.
anyone have a question for Tyvus before we?
Tyvus, Jamar Chase not playing for the Bengals. Does that make a difference in whether the Browns win or lose ultimately?
Yeah, I was a little nervous about it when he was playing and Denzel wasn't, because I think Denzel is I respect G New, but I think Denzel is the guy that you would put on him if he starts to get loose. So now that he's not playing, I kind of think it's even blood out there with G New and Denzel not playing. It should be a good game. Now, it's going to come down to that defensive line. They're going to have to make plays because that offensive line has gotten better, but they're not perfect. I think this is the game that if them defensive tackles ever had to come to life, it got to be this game if they want to make something happen, if they want to make something on defense happen.
What do you got to say about your boy Eli Apple's very close to losing his job? What do you think?
Eli Apple will be fine. He's a first-round pick. Eli Apple is a game-time player. He'll be all right. Listen, at corner, you're going to have those games where,
But he's
it
splitting
looks
carries
bad.
now.
Wait a minute.
Or not
Freaking
carries, but-
Jalen Ramsey got beat many a day. Even in the Super Bowl, he looked at God awful, but people still crown him the best. So
No.
it comes with the position.
I'm just saying, I've supported Eli Apple, but last week the Bengals second round pick Cam Taylor Britt was splitting reps with him, so he may be losing his job.
But I mean, this is the thing. Should have been on high alert when this season started to begin with. Once they made that draft pick, he knew what time it was.
Right, that's
I
true.
mean, him and Jesse Bates, it's written on the wall. Like,
That's
we
true.
got our next guy. Y'all
Yeah.
can just do y'all year, and we moving on after these years. So you better go out there and put some good film together for your next team.
Well,
Tyvus,
Jesse Bates is getting paid.
What's your vibe about this Browns game going into it? How you feeling?
What you got?
What do you think?
Well, it's a Monday night game, so it's going to be a Super Bowl. I did get a chance to play in one Monday night game in my career, and it is a totally different atmosphere. The Browns fans will be there. It'll be electric. And to me, they at the crossroads. It's either if they win this game, then everything that they want still is attainable. But if they lose this game, it's one of those things where you can kind of ball this season up and shoot it in the basket because it's over with.
All right, Tyvus, we'll wrap it up with this rapid fire. Just a quick yes or no answer. We got 4 games the next 4 days.
Okay.
All right, involving either a Cleveland team or Ohio State. You give me a win or loss. Cavs tonight in Boston.
Loss.
Ohio State at Penn State tomorrow.
Big dub.
Cavs at home against the Knicks Sunday.
Big dub.
Browns host the Bengals on Monday.
Big dub.
Wow. All right, there you go.
Very confident.
Got all wins except for tonight. All right, Tyvis, have a good weekend.
Thanks,
We'll
Tyvis.
see you next week.
See you
All
later.
right, good to see Tyvis. By the way, Steve Becker just texted that now Eddie Murphy's working on a new Beverly Hills Cop. We got to stop him.
Stop.
Somebody
Tackle
stop
him.
him.
Someone tackle him.
Somebody stop him.
No, that's the problem.
Is Judge Reinhold going to be in it?
Here's
I think the other guy's dead.
Good
Isn't he
question.
that guy?
No, Nick Nolte. He's still alive.
No, that was 48 Hours.
48 hours. 48
Yeah.
hours. What am I?
Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop.
The heavy set cop.
Yes.
He was also in Little Big League as the Twins pitching coach.
Yes.
Time for final thoughts, guys.
Dang it.
Well, we
I
can
lost
be about
it.
TV, movies, whatever you want.
The chat is on fire.
On
They're
fire
loving.
right now?
They're loving the TV
People
references.
love TV talk. I think Mike's a little stressed out about it, but people
Cheers.
like the TV talk. People love that stuff.
I'm not stressed.
Oh, you're
I'm
not?
all good with this.
All right, good.
He just didn't know. Listen, I almost said I was Saturday mornings. I used to watch Bull.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Bull
Remember
Weekly?
Saturday morning cartoons?
Bro,
Of course.
Oh my God, that was the best Saturday morning cartoon.
One more piece of Halloween the movie trivia for you guys that you might know or you might not. You know the mask that Michael Myers uses in the original. Do you know what that mask is of? And if you can pull up the picture of the Michael Myers mask from the original, then this might be helpful for people to see.
Yeah.
That mask was found by one of the prop people from the original movie when they were shooting it. They went and got a mask of William Shatner from Star Trek, and they spray painted it white. And that is Michael Myers' mask.
serious?
Is a William Shatner mask. That is his face that you see in the Halloween movies.
I never knew
it's
that.
a William Shatner
You wouldn't
mask.
think of him as being creepy. But
You wouldn't, but when you spray paint it white, all of a sudden, but if you
William
see,
Shatner's creepy
now you
then.
won't be able to not see it. And it was like one of those generic 60s kind of like masks that they had back then. But anyway,
You
so
learn
that's
something
William
new every
Shatner's
day.
mask.
Final take, Mike. Go ahead.
Paul's final take is Halloween related.
Oh,
too,
it is.
so
My
it's
final
perfect.
take is Halloween related. I'm going to give everyone a piece of advice out there. This is for people like myself. If you're looking for that perfect Halloween costume, last minute kind of thing. I did this one year, and I'm going to do it again. Because I'm going to do it again this year because it's like, if you're like me, you like to, I like to socialize, I like people, but I also have a little bit of social anxiety. I don't want to talk all the time. Sometimes I just want to be left alone. So if you're in that situation, you want to celebrate Halloween, you want to be around people, you want to participate and not be that person at the party who's just like not dressed up and stuff, I recommend this. I dressed as Bernie Lomax. Remember this movie? Go to the first slide. Bernie Lomax from Weekend at Bernie's, okay? Now, this is the perfect costume. I played the lead character, the titular character, who was deceased, as you know. And now go ahead and go to the next picture. I played, this is me as Bernie Lomax. That's us at breakfast later on in the night. It's also perfect. Go ahead to the next one. If you like just don't want to talk to somebody, if they're talking to you at a party, you can just pretend to be dead.
Who is that? What is that guy dressed up as?
He is being the smart beast from X-Men. Remember when he's like the smart one?
Right.
Okay, that's my friend Bill Squire. And then finally, we have one more. This is just me passed out. It's great for pictures, too, just with people. You can just be dead all night long, and you have a perfect excuse not to talk to anybody if you want to. So I'm recommending it. I'm going to be Bernie again this year. And that's
you just go as Bernie every year?
No, this will be my second year.
He's bringing it back.
I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing back
I like
Bernie.
that.
And so if you're looking for the perfect Halloween costume, I want to share it with the world.
Yeah.
All right. What's yours, G?
Well, I'm going to go along with this, man. Halloween brings back certain memories, and nostalgia is really cool. I don't know why I've been a nostalgic lady, but just going back down the pipeline of just remembering putting your outfits on and going to different places and getting candy. There is a limited edition in terms of what you can do with candy. Here's the do's and don'ts. Mm-hmm. When you go in to give out good candy, the first thing we've talked about a little bit is candy corn. Nobody wants that.
No.
If you put that out as bird feed, the birds won't eat it. Mm-mm. If you go to the beach, the penguins and the seagulls out there, they won't eat none
Unnatural.
of that. It's just not a good look.
They don't want it.
Stay away from that. York peppermint patties. No one wants those. I don't want that or mounds. No one wants a pile of coconuts.
Don't
Children, you getting people mixed up. Children be like, tastes like toothpaste on top of chocolate. Mm-hmm. You can't give York peppermint patties to no kids. They don't understand it. Mm-hmm. Second of all, if you are going to get gum, don't get the little hard pieces of gum.
No.
Them little rocks that's painted pink. don't get them. Get some nice gum and put it in there for them, bro.
Yeah.
Get some of that flavorful, fruity gum.
Treat
and
them.
and then, by the way, just please, you can go down to Family Dollar. Get you a couple bags of these, some Kit Kats, some Reese cups.
Yeah.
Some little small Snickers.
Yeah.
And you good.
Yeah.
You good. Just take a handful of them, put it in a bag, and finally, chips are not allowed.
Sorry. No chips.
No
Sorry.
chips.
Knocked over my plate.
Knocked over his drink.
That chair is good. That chair, Brad.
Oh, no, that's my chair.
That's your chair.
Well, I don't have to sit on it for a week, so.
You know what? I get good candy and bad candy, and mine is attitude based on the trick-or-treater or if I like you or don't like you. So I have good candy here. If I like you, you're
If you
a
look
cute
like a
kid.
jerk, yeah.
And if you're like some teen or something like that and I don't like your attitude or you're a jerk, I'm just like, enjoy your crab candy.
What crab candy do you have?
I'll do even my crab candy is like acceptable.
Almond Joy, maybe?
Oh,
Hey, guys, real quick, breaking news from the Browns. Charlie Hewlett has signed a 4-year extension, making him the the highest paid long snapper, highest overall value, and highest signing bonus ever for a long snapper.
Chucky Hugh, my
That's
dog.
your boy, Mike Polk.
That's my dog
That's
right
your
there.
boy.
That's what we're excited about.
Woo! Breaking
That's
news.
Polk's boy.
By the way, speaking of special teams, Mike Prefer did admit that the Browns did have a false start on that play.
So people can
He
stop
did.
saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He admitted they did commit a false start.
There it is.
All right, these guys talked about Halloween in true curmudgeonly fashion. I hate Halloween. Halloween sucks. All these grubby kids come in my house. I'll be honest with you. Recently, especially during the COVID years, I shut my light off. I didn't give no candy to these little
Wow.
bastards. Well, stop coming to my house begging for candy. Ask your own parents for candy. What the hell's the matter with you? And by the way, what's the limit for Halloween? I think it should be like 12. Once you're 13, I'm Jewish, all right? When you're 13, you're a man or a woman. That's enough free candy for you, all right? Could be some jokes made out of that. By the way.
A lot of them. They will use that against you in the court of
No
law.
doubt. But let me tell you something. Don't be coming to my house for free candy if you're 13 or older. If I suspect you're 13, I'm kicking your ass right out the door. No free candy
What
for
if
you.
it's like a weird, tall, awkward 11-year-old and you just suspect they're 13?
I can tell.
You can tell.
I know all the 11-year-olds.
Don't-
That sounds creepy, too.
Let's not use that quote.
Let's just burn this last 35 to 45 seconds.
Bottom line is, Halloween sucks. Stop begging for candy. Get the hell out. Buy your own candy, you little bastards. We'll see you Monday. I'll be hosting again and maybe saying inappropriate things about Halloween. We will preview Browns Bengals on Monday. Tim Couch with us, maybe?
Tim is back. Yep.
All right.
Hold on, before we go. Hey,
No,
man, we
no,
only got 175 likes. I need them
What the
likes
hell
to
happened?
go up.
Let's go.
I need them
Subscribe.
powered by
Hit the
likes.
bell. Let's go. Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Have a great weekend, everybody.